Ladies and gentlemen, it is Tuesday, July 21st, 2026. This is your home for political play-by-play, the Owen Report, with you for the next 3 hours. Now, we've been monitoring this hearing. You have Hegseth, who is testifying right now, along with the Secretary of Agriculture and General Kane. They need money. They need money. This is the only time where the government becomes relatable. It's when they're broke and they need money. Now, of course, they can get this money, no problem. They'll have no problem, I'm sure. They're just looking for another $100 billion. You know, the money that we could have had if we didn't go to another war in the Middle East, or the money we could have had if we didn't give it all to Ukraine. Now we need some money. The farmers are broke. The military is broke. The Pentagon is broke. But hey, we got another new war for the foreign lobby. And so that's all that matters, guys. So we may get into that a little bit. There's not really any news that has broke from this hearing yet. There's nothing new. It's the same display that you get. I got to say, though, it gets worse and worse every day now with this Trump administration. And you start to look at a Marjorie Taylor Greene. You start to look at a Joe Kent, maybe a Tulsi Gabbard. I don't know. She's kind of gone silent, and maybe she's dealing with some family issues with the health problems. But you understand, it's like, yeah, you got to get the hell out of there. I mean, even Bongino. And Bongino, he's decided he still wants to be in good graces with the president, or, you know, whatever. He's still going to slop it up for the administration. But even he got the hell out of there. And I think it's pretty clear that every day you stick around this administration, every single day, it becomes a reputational issue. It becomes a reputational issue. And so you either just accept that and lean into it, like what you see today with Pete Hegseth or with Brooke Rollins, or you say, I want nothing to do with this. The branding of this administration is now insider trading and war. I'm out. I'm out. I don't want anything to do with this. So I just can't help it. It feels different watching Pete Hegseth today, watching Brooke Rollins today, and watching them a year ago. It feels different. And I know I'm not the only one. So we may have some of that. The only thing that's really in the news, though, is that the Pentagon is broke. They have no money. We spent all our money on this war with Iran. We have no weapons either, apparently. We have no weapons, so I don't know how we're going to win a war with no money or no weapons. And then there were some protests, some anti-war protests that broke out today. So we'll look at that. We have heard now, we have names. You know, the official number of death, the official number of dead Americans from this new war with Iran is debatable. It's at least 20. Now, I think the official number that the administration is giving us, I believe, is at 19, but it's at least 20, because let's not forget that there was also an attack in America. And they kind of just, you notice how they kind of just moved on from that real quick. You had a couple shootings here that they said this was in response. This was retaliation to the war in Iran. And we had a couple of shootings here, including deadly ones. They just kind of shoved that under the rug. Maybe you count that. You're over 20. But who knows? There's a lot of skepticism right now if we're even getting the real number. So we will look at that. And then what is this translating to as, we're almost through July, guys. That's pretty crazy. We are almost through July. And why do I say that? That's because once summer is over, you know what that means. Once summer is over and then we are in September, it's midterm time. And things are going to start heating up. Congress will get back from their summer break, the meaningless Congress with their break. And all of a sudden, this war is going to start to feel a lot heavier. All of a sudden, all the different issues that have come from this war are going to be a lot harder to avoid in the midterms. And the way they analyze it right now, in D.C., they look at it, 4 Senate seats. Well, you can talk about the House. 4 Senate seats that they believe are up for grabs and could end up determining which way the Senate goes. And they're not even counting Texas, and so maybe you don't think Texas is a toss-up. You give it to Paxton. But you got 4 races, and if they go to Democrats, that flips the Senate. The House is already in a small margin. The Democrats think they're going to take the House easy. So as this war goes on, and the costs, not just the price, but the cost of life, the loss of life, as these headlines continue to come in, and then what are Americans seeing today if you're following the news? Hey, I'm broke. Oh, so is the Pentagon, but they're going to get more money. They're going to get plenty of money for this war that nobody likes. And then I've got the polls. Trump's approval rating continues to go to record lows. This is mostly being driven by young conservatives because it's all just a numbers game. Well, where is Trump losing approval rating? It's with young conservatives. It's with right-wing men under 40. He is tanking. And now it's so easy for left-wing media. They don't even have to do fake news anymore. They don't even have to cherry pick for quotes anymore. They can just ask any conservative, any right-wing man under 40, under 30, and they all say the same thing. And so the New York Times did this, and they asked about just under a dozen right-wing conservative voters under 30, men and women, and they're all saying the same thing. We're sick of the war. We're broke. Trump's broken campaign promises. And there's all kinds of indicators. There's all kinds of indicators of this. And that's why I continue to harp on this, and we'll do it again today. There is almost no representation of this, especially in the right-wing media. The right-wing media wants to pretend like they haven't lost young conservatives. The right-wing media wants to pretend like the foreign policy isn't destroying the credibility of the Republican Party among young conservatives. They're just ignoring this. They're ignoring the frustration. They're pretending it's not there. And yet, if you actually go out into the real world and talk to people, you'll find out that's pretty much where the majority of young conservatives are at. So we will take a look at that. We'll get more into the weeds as far as the foreign policy issues are concerned and what's developing today. We do have some election integrity news. Oh, and by the way, so we were all right. This one was kind of easy to predict. I don't know if we can even call it a Ruth, but we were all on top of this. So they got the new election integrity stories today. I've got a couple of them. The Republicans don't want you to know about one of them. They do want you to know about the other, though. Why? Because Mike Johnson announces they're going to be putting the SAVE Act into the NDAA. Now, this is done. The vote is going to happen tomorrow. Now, what they're not telling you is that they also slipped in the Israeli military merger. Maybe we should should we play the narrative games? We can play narrative games too. They slipped in the Israel conquers our military into the NDAA. They slipped in the Israel gets to buy our military into the NDAA. So the whole election integrity thing was a smokescreen. The whole election integrity, SAVE Act, Trump's speech, all the headlines they're pushing today, it was all a smokescreen so that you sit here and you look at this NDAA and you say, we need election security, Republicans better vote for it. And then they don't tell you they're slipping in the back door. Hey, Israel gets control of our military. Hey, Israel gets access to our bank accounts. Hey, you're totally not occupied. Now you're conquered by Israel. Oh, don't say that. Oh, shut up. Shut up. Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say no new wars. Don't say that. Don't say you're going to get energy costs down. Don't come at me. Don't come at me. Go after President Trump, who lied to us, and now there's multiple body bags coming home, and they're having to reschedule the transfer at Dover because Trump can't make it. But he does have to be there. I mean, I said it yesterday. Trump does have to be there, but they have to work around his schedule. So they're delaying the transfer, the dignified transfer at Dover, because it's all about Trump. It's all about Donald Trump. So he's got to be in the World Cup photo. He's got to be there for the dignified transfer, but it has to be on his time. He started this whole mess. Body bags are coming home. They're piling up. We don't even know if we have the right number. They're probably covering up the real number. So we got that. And then, a little slop. There's a little slop at the end of the show. So all of that and more coming up on today's Owen Report. Brought to you by Cove Pure Water Filtration Systems. You know, it is the 250th birthday of the United States of America. 250. And so in honor of that, the official water filter of the Owen Report, Cove Pure Water Filters, they want to offer you $250 off right now at covepure.com/Owen in honor of America's birthday. $250 off. Folks, take your water filtration to the future with me and with Cove Pure. This system seems like it's right out of the future. Seems like it's right out of space technology. One button, scalding hot water. The button right next to it, ice cold water, seconds later, no hesitation. So you want a cup of ice cold water? It's got you. You want a cup of hot water for your tea? It's got you. It filters out everything with the reverse osmosis filtration system and then realkalizes the water before you drink it. It has a removable pitcher that refills itself. This thing is unbelievable. Control how much water you want, the temperature of it. Get it today, $250 off at covepure.com/Owen. That's right, for America's birthday, $250 off at covepure.com/Owen.
On the cutting edge of news and analysis, the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right, guys. So the Pentagon hearing is ongoing. The Department of Agriculture needs more money. They're broke. The farmers are broke. Farmers need a bailout. Thanks to the Trump administration for doing so much for the farmers. Like you said, they're broke now. They're broke. They need a bailout. So that's not going well. The Pentagon is out of money. The Pentagon is apparently out of weapons, too. That's a problem. How many wars are we in right now? We can't even count, can't even keep up. It's a little confusing even how many different wars we're fighting. So there's no money, there's no weapons, everybody's broke. So they're all asking Congress for more money today. It's a pathetic display. It is. It's a pathetic display from our pathetic, corrupt politicians and this disappointing, to say the least, disappointing administration. Now, before we get started here, we know of two more individuals now that have died in the war with Iran. One, Major Alex Kleiner, Kleiner leaves behind a wife, a 2-year-old, and 7-month-old twins. Another American dead in the Middle East. And then you have Sergeant Michael Emmanuel Swinton, 30 years old, Fayetteville, North Carolina. Leaves behind a 6-year-old son and 4-year-old daughter. His mother and his wife providing some quotes to the media. His wife, Mia Gonzalez Swinton, said, "I will never recover from this. We had so many plans for when you got back. I'm sick to my stomach." She said she was notified Sunday that he had been killed. Now, you don't want to be disrespectful of the dead. And it's a fine line to walk when you're dealing with this. And I don't think this is going to be the last we hear about Americans dying in this war. I doubt it's the last. I doubt that we even have the true numbers. My guess is there are more, and they're just not telling us. But regardless, there probably will be more. And there's a couple things that you have to ask as this is ongoing. Now, there's no doubt this is against the campaign promises. We were promised no new wars. This was not supposed to be happening. In fact, now, I believe the official number, there are more dead under this Trump administration than there were under the Biden administration. So now Donald Trump is responsible for more Americans getting killed in the Middle East than Joe Biden. How do you like that one? How are you going to defend that one? And of course, we know, everybody listening to this knows that if this was Joe Biden, MAGA and the right-wing media, that would be their lead story today. They would be making sure to put this blood on Biden's hands. They would be making sure to put this blood on the Biden administration's hands. I'm surprised the Democrats weren't going harder after Pete Hegseth, considering this news was in the backdrop today. But that whole thing was just a slop show. I don't even want to talk about it. Honestly, guys, I got to say, our Congress, our politicians, these administration officials, it's so pathetic. They're all just so pathetic. I don't want to hear about your Republican Democrat. I don't want to hear about your Trump administration versus Biden administration. They're all pathetic. They're all a bunch of scum-sucking liars. And I'm sick of them. I'm sick of all of them. I'm sick of them on my TV. I'm sick of them in my government. And you just see, they just all go along for the ride. You know, that's why I look at this today and I have more respect today than I've ever had for Joe Kent. That's why I look at this today. I totally understand why Marjorie Taylor Greene said, "I'm out." How you would want to be associated with this administration at all at this point is beyond me. Beyond me. The only thing I could reasonably convince myself it's worth sticking around for would be if you were actually going to do the things that you campaigned on, that you were actually going to drain the swamp, that we were actually going to have major reform, stopping all the waste, fraud, and abuse, mass arrests, mass deportations. Like if the Trump administration was going to do the legendary, historical things that needed to be done, revolutionary, founding father aura, energy, and direction and results, then I could convince myself to stick around. Then I would say, okay, we're going to go through some troubled times. There's going to be some ups and downs, but I know that this is where we're going. I want to be a part of that. None of that's happening. None of it's happening, and none of it's going to happen. And every single day, you've got these people trying to convince themselves that it's still happening. These MAGA people still convincing themselves that, hey, you don't get it. Trump has totally sold you out. The whole movement's been co-opted. It's dead. It's over. They're building a surveillance state here now. They're promoting it. They're back in the Middle East. Bodies are coming home. They're starting to pile up. Wake up. Wake up. It's such a cringe fest. And then you sit here, you look at all these photos as the bodies continue to come home, and it's the Trump family in the luxury suite at the World Cup final. And it's like, hey, you know what? I get it. I like the World Cup. Good for you. You guys went to the game. That's great. Have you ever heard of optics? You're the first family, and you got Americans coming home in body bags. Maybe a little respect. Maybe a little decorum. Maybe a little discretion when it comes to the optics here. No. You're going to sit here and rub it in America's face as the Trump family is making billions and billions and billions of dollars, and Americans are coming home in body bags, and Trump, this narcissistic egomaniac, won't even get off the stage for the World Cup celebration because it's all about them, guys. It's all about them. And then they just pile up the body bags. And Trump says, oh, we have to delay the dignified transfer because I can't be there. I'm sick of them all, man. I'm sick of them all. But hey, at least Israel gets what it wants. I mean, that's really all that matters, right? That's all that matters. The Israeli finance minister says this, Smotrich. The state of Israel has no interest in joining the contained confrontation between Iran and the United States. The current situation is the best one for us. Yeah, you don't say. The current situation is the best one for Israel because this is an Israel-first administration. Has it ever been more obvious? I mean, it's smacking you right in the face. It's kicking you in the balls. I mean, I don't want to get too graphic here, but I mean, it's bending you over and, having its way with you. The current situation is the best one for us. Of course it is. You guys don't have to fight your own wars, and Americans are dying for Israel. Again. I'm not mincing words on this. I'm not playing games. I'm sick of the deep state fake narratives. I'm sick of the war propaganda. I'm sick of all the sellout Americans that are going along for this ride. I'm done, okay? It's time for us to be done. It's time for the American people to be done with this. Let's say it what it is. Americans have died for Israel. And if you really want to add it up over the last couple of decades, the number is by the thousands. But let's just look at this administration. We're at least 20, I'd say, at least. That's what we know of. Who knows what the real number is? And Israel just comes out and says, yeah, this is the best situation for us. We have purchased America's government. We have purchased Congress. We have purchased the White House. We own and run the United States foreign policy and military. So the U.S. is fighting our war. Americans are dying for our war. And look, we're going to bring out influencers to walk on the beach. Look, we're going to bring out influencers and we're going to give them IDF girlfriends and we're going to penetrate all the different social media networks and all the media networks and all the film industry. And we're going to penetrate all of it as we run your government and you die for our war. But look at all the influencers coming to Israel and telling you how great it is. Oh, it's fun. It's a vibe. It's aura. It's a beach. Look at all the IDF hotties. Oh, yeah. It's what's best for Israel. So if you want to know where this goes, if you stay on this course, if you want to know where this goes, it's all right here. It's all right here in front of you guys. Just like Americans are dying for Israel, our country is dying for Israel. Your entire country is being sucked dry and bled dry for a foreign policy that is run by a foreign country and only benefits a foreign country. And everybody's finally waking up to it. The only question is, can we stop it before it's too late? That's the only question. And you know what's crazy about it, guys? This is what's so crazy about it. And this is why so many people have had this realization. And there's this big debate about the midterms. People realize, I'm no fan of the Democrats. I don't like the Democrat policies. I couldn't imagine myself even voting for a Democrat. I never had. But Americans are realizing if this Trump administration is not stopped, if this war in the Middle East is not stopped, it could be it, guys. That could be it. There could be no recovering from this. There could be no recovering. And so the only answer might be Democrats getting in there and stopping this administration. Democrats getting in there and stopping Trump from all the damage he's doing to this country. It might be the only option. That's what people are realizing. Wake up, guys. Wake up, MAGA. Hey, I get it. You thought it was all great. No. Wake up. Wake up. Trump is George Bush, maybe worse. The economy's not getting any better. The Pentagon is broke. The debt is at a record high. Americans' debt is at a record high. You're in the Middle East. Americans are coming back in body bags. Wake up. Wake up. You have been sold out. Trump sold you out. And I wonder how many of these Americans that signed up for the military, a 19-year-old girl, a 19-year-old girl signs up for the military. She's dead now. I wonder if she signed up because she believed Donald Trump. I wonder how many Americans signed up and joined the military because they believed Donald Trump when he said no new wars. Because they believed Donald Trump would be different than the past administrations. They believed Donald Trump would be different than George Bush. How many Americans in the massive recruitment drive that the Trump administration ran for the first 4 months of the administration, all the way up to the 4th of July drive that they did last year with the parade, how many Americans signed up to join the military because they actually believed Donald Trump when he said no new wars, and they didn't think they'd be dying overseas for foreign interest and special interest? I wonder. Imagine how betrayed they feel. Imagine how betrayed their families feel. And Trump doesn't give a damn. Couldn't care less. He's dancing at the World Cup. His family's richer than ever. I do get a little distraught, guys. I do. And I don't understand Americans that don't. Our people are coming back in body bags, guys. Wake up. This war is not in our interests. It's literally the opposite. It's against our interests, and it's against what the vast majority of Americans want. And the Americans are coming back in body bags, and our country is broke. And people just think, oh, yeah, it's all good, man. It's all good. Trump's better than Kamala, so hey. Well, who knows? But I'm going to say this right now. I'm going to tell you this right now. People are reaching the conclusion, and it's only going one direction, that the most pragmatic thing to do right now is to stop this administration. Libertarians are reaching this conclusion. Conservatives are reaching this conclusion. Centrists are reaching this conclusion. Independents are reaching this conclusion. The Democrats have been stuck on this conclusion for 10 years. The pragmatic choice that people are going to make is put Democrats in charge of Congress to stop this administration. It's out of control. It's more corrupt than Biden. It has to be stopped. It has to be stopped. And with every American that comes back in a body bag, and with every headline that talks about how this country's broke, but the Pentagon is going to get more money for war, that's going to convince another couple hundred Americans, another couple thousand Americans, I have to stop this administration. If I have to go out and vote Democrat, I will go do that, because this administration has to be stopped. This administration is run by foreign and special interests. It must be stopped. Now, clearly, there's no interest in stopping the war, so I don't see this ending. I don't see this phenomenon ending. And all the polls show it. Trump breaks record poll. Low, shocking. Analysis says it's horrible. as Trump hits a new bottom that outdoes his predecessors. Even Richard Nixon, a veteran Democrat strategist, explains how her party can do more to exploit his historic weakness. Yeah, I think it's going to be bad. Who knows how bad it's going to be? They might even cancel elections. That's what everyone else is doing. That's what Netanyahu does. That's what Zelensky does. Wouldn't surprise me. There's a map here. Map shows Donald Trump's approval rating in every state after 18 months. And it's red states where he still has a positive approval rating. Guys, let me tell you, when Trump loses Missouri and Texas and North Carolina and Florida, and he goes into the negative, when Trump goes into the negative approval rating in Missouri, North Carolina, Florida, and Texas, folks, it's cooked. It's cooked. It's done. There's no coming back. Now, the New York Times interviewed, I mentioned this earlier. I've been covering this for months, at least a year. I've been covering young Americans distraught with the Trump administration. So the New York Times went out and interviewed many of them. Here's a couple poll quotes. Do you have names of people you hope will lead the Republican Party once Donald Trump is gone? They mention Thomas Massey, J.D. Vance, J.D. Vance, J.D. Vance, and one 25-year-old medical worker, Kim, said Candace Owens. What have I been telling you guys? What have I been telling you? This is where the people are at. Now, you can go into the story here. Very similar stuff directionally. These young conservatives talking about the economy going the wrong direction, talking about foreign policy is a humiliation, a disaster. Nobody can afford homes. So it's very consistent. All of these young conservatives, they're all in their 20s, talking about the same stuff that they were supposed to have addressed by the Trump administration and are not being addressed. So it's very interesting. It's exactly what we knew was going on. Now, let's put the caveat as we play this. Whether or not you believe this gentleman is in the military or not, I suppose I can leave that up to you. But this story that he tells, I don't think would surprise anybody. And I've been talking about this for months, guys. Again, if you actually go out and talk to normal people, if you're not stuck in the political world and the political bubbles, this is what people sound like. This is what people are talking like. These are the conversations people are having. And it's amazing that the mainstream media is just completely not even close. They're not even close. I'm not even sure they're trying. Do you believe this story? This is a man who claims to be in the military, talks about an experience he had in the morning getting his morning coffee.
I just walked into a gas station uniform to get my morning soda, and the guy, super nice, was like, "What are you guys doing today?" I said, "Oh, pretending to shoot stuff down." He says, "Good thing to be doing these days. Hopefully we don't have to send you guys out." And then here's what he said: "To be honest with you, I'd prefer Israel send their own people to go get shot." And he said, "I think Israel should fight their own wars." Completely unprompted, delivered in a smooth, silky southern accent. The times, they are a-changin'. And while in uniform, I don't think I'm allowed to agree with him.
Now, you could say you don't believe it, and that's okay. But let's say you don't believe that. There's still one thing that remains true. Young people are making this content. young people are making anti-Israel content, and it is the top political content right now if you're a young man, specifically if you're a young man, whether you're right-wing or you're left-wing. If you want to do political content, especially geopolitical or foreign policy related, it's all anti-Israel. So if you want to say, I don't believe he's in the military, that's fine. I wouldn't be surprised if that story is true. I wouldn't be surprised if it's fake. But I do know that that is a situation that is happening. And even if you don't want to believe that, you have to understand this is what young people are saying. This is what young Americans are saying. These conversations are without a doubt happening inside of the military right now. You don't think these young kids in the military have this figured out, guys? They grew up on the internet. They live on the internet. They live on the memes. They are probably hyper aware of Israel's influence over our foreign policy and military. They've just already signed up. They're already in there. They're in the mindset. They're going to work. Oh, but I would bet they're hyper aware. So Hegseth is still, they're still testifying here. The Pentagon sinking billions into Iran war is quickly running short on cash, with some funds set to dry up within weeks. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is set to press lawmakers Tuesday to address the increasingly urgent shortfall. Yeah, you guys went to a war for Israel that you couldn't afford. Now we're screwed. Hey, here's an idea. Why don't you ask Israel for some money? There's a novel idea. Israel came out and they said today that this war is exactly where we want it to be, but we're not joining it. Literally, Israel said, we're not joining America's war against Iran. And this war is exactly where it needs to be for us. Boy, that's funny. Maybe we should be lobbying Israel to fund this war. It's funny, they come back to the American people. We don't even want this war. It's the Israelis that want this war. They should be funding it. Instead, they just purchase our corrupt politicians, purchase our corrupt media, and then sell you a war that nobody wants. So America's broke, and the Israeli lobby says, hey, you haven't finished our war yet. You need some more money. And so they come to us and they ask for more money. Why don't you guys go to Israel and ask for more money? Why don't you go to Israel and ask for a refund on all the money that we've given them? If we're broke and our military is broke, then why are we still fighting and dying for Israel's interests in the Middle East? I mean, guys, you could argue, as far as perception is concerned, I don't think I've ever seen, maybe it was like this for Vietnam. I wasn't alive. I have never seen anything like what we're witnessing as far as foreign policy and the military is concerned. It's never been more open and shut that really we don't even have any agency over our military. We don't even have any influence over our foreign policy. It is quite literally bought and paid for by the Israeli lobby. And it's never been more obvious, specifically with this war in Iran. And it's like we're all just sitting here watching it. Is this what it was like with Vietnam? I mean, I'm just curious. Was it this bad with Vietnam? Like, did everyone in the country know, like, oh, this is corrupt, this is going to be a bad war, this is not going to go well for us when Vietnam was happening? Obviously, it was different, considering the media landscape was obviously different. But this is like, I mean, right out of the gates, guys. Everybody predicted that if we got into this war, everything else that would happen has happened. We'd run out of money. People would start dying. the coalition would be destroyed. Democrats would be favored to win the midterms. And communists, socialists, and Islamists were going to start coming into power. We predicted all of this years ago. It was so obvious. We just didn't think Trump was that big of a sellout or a liar to actually do it. Some of us did, I guess. We'll give him credit. But he did it. You feel bad. You feel bad for the men and women that signed up because they love America. You feel bad for the men and women that were deceived by Trump because they thought, hey, if I sign up for the military, I'm not going to go die overseas for foreign interests. And now 20 of them have returned in body bags. I'm sorry. I'm ranting about this today. It breaks my heart, guys. It just breaks my heart. These are parents with newborns, young children, and our corrupt government, our sick, traitorous, sellout government is sending them to die for foreign interests, guys, for the billionaire class. You say, oh, you sound like a leftist. Is that wrong? I'm not a leftist. I don't really think I have any leftist beliefs. I don't think I have any leftist ideology in me. I'm just telling the truth. Is it wrong that the donor class runs this administration? Is it wrong that the foreign lobby runs the foreign policy? Is it wrong that these two elements have us at war in the Middle East and Americans dying again? Is any of that wrong? Say whatever you want. Is it wrong? So now Israel is telling Trump that they're developing nukes in the Pickaxe Mountains. Israel believes Iran moved nuclear centrifuges into Pickaxe Mountain. So Trump is he's basically Israeli at this point. Trump is not even American anymore. He doesn't listen to American intelligence. He only trusts Israel. He literally takes orders from Israel. So Israel says, oh, Trump, they're in the Pickaxe Mountain making nuclear weapons. So Trump comes out today with the president of Jordan at the Oval Office and says, we're going to bomb the Pickaxe Mountain. Folks, your country is being run by Israel. This administration is being run by Israel. That's why Gabbard is out. That's why Joe Kent is out. All the good American patriots that were involved with foreign policy are all being squeezed out. And anybody inside of the administration that isn't totally owned by Israel, that's telling Trump, hey, this isn't a good idea, we've got different intel, they're all getting pushed out. They're all getting squeezed out. They're all getting fired or they're quitting. Israel literally picks up the phone and says, hey, Trump, Iran's making nuclear bombs in the Pickaxe Mountain. Trump says, you got it, I'll bomb the Pickaxe Mountains. I mean, you name it. They pick up the phone. Trump, we need you to bomb the nuclear facilities. Trump says, okay, Operation Midnight Hammer. Israel calls, hey, Trump, we need you to control the Strait of Hormuz. Trump says, you got it, Strait of Hormuz. Israel says, hey, we need you to surround Iran with troops on bases. We need you to surround Iran with the Navy. We need you to surround Iran and get ready for a large invasion and a war with Iran. Trump says, you got it. Oh, but you, the dirty American that doesn't want to go to war, you're a panicking. You, the dirty American that thought no new wars meant no new wars, you're the bad guy. You're not MAGA. And as predicted, they're squeezing the Israeli conquering of our military into the NDAA. Speaker Johnson announces it. They're going to vote on it. This week, we're moving forward with the SAVE Act and Protect America Act. Literally, it's selling America out. So it's turning elections over to the federal government. Imagine what the Democrats will do with that power. And then it's the Protect America Act, and it's literally giving our military over to Israel. And they say this is about securing elections. Oh, yes. Don't you see how you just got propagandized, guys? Don't you see how you just got totally propagandized? Trump comes out and does the big election integrity speech. No arrests, nothing. Nothing changes. He just does the speech, so you're talking about it. They come out today. They give you this story about New Jersey. Hundreds of non-citizens voting in New Jersey elections since 2023. Yeah, no kidding. We've been covering this for years. So they run all of these stories about election integrity. Trump does his big speech, and then they say, see, we got to get the SAVE Act in the NDAA. And then people will come out and support it because we got to have election integrity, and they'll slide in the Israeli military merger, and they just won't even say a peep about it. And that's what this was all about. Literally, that's what everything this administration is doing. That's about what everything the Republican Party is doing. It's what it's all about. Your country is getting screwed over and sold out, guys. It's worse than I've ever seen it. Worse than Biden. Worse than Obama. It's worse than it's ever been. It's never been more obvious. It's never been more over the top. And now the body bags are coming home and the country's broke. But hey, pick up the pom-poms and do the high leg kick, MAGA. I'm sure this is what you guys voted for. And of course, we all know why they're trying to shove this into the NDAA now, because everybody knows that Israel has maybe one election cycle left of any political support. And it just shows you who really controls our country. When the American people don't support Israel, it's only the politicians. So there you go. Inside House Democrats' fear-driven turn against Israel. Now, Jeffries is coming out and saying he's going to do everything to protect Israel in the House. He's going to do everything to make sure Israel gets all the money it needs. But it's not going over well inside the Democrat Party. It's not going over well. So they know, Netanyahu knows, Trump knows, the whole Israeli lobby knows, they've lost the American people. The vast majority of the American people are sick of Israel. They want nothing to do with Israel. They want to cut Israel off entirely. They actually now view Israel as the biggest threat to the country. Israel is not viewed as the greatest ally. Israel is now viewed as the greatest threat to the country. And we've seen that become the reality in the last 12 months. Israel is the greatest threat to our country, but it's not even Israel. You know, they always try to play these games. It's the Israeli lobby. It's the corrupt Israeli government, just like our government is corrupt. That's what it is. So they know that they're losing popularity. They know that they have maybe 1 or 2 election cycles left before there's no political support. So they're doing everything they possibly can to shore up that they'll always get our money and they'll always control our military. And that's what this NDAA is all about. And let's see. Let's see what happens when this fight comes to the floor tomorrow. Because they're running out of time. Now, there's a story. China builds full-scale replica of U.S. Navy warship to train AI. Now, I don't know about this whole train AI thing. I think that's just more AI propaganda because they just are trying to convince you that you want data centers, you want AI, even though you don't. So I think the whole AI is just a propaganda angle. But China is building full-scale replicas of U.S. Navy ships and other tech right now, including a replica of Taiwan's presidential palace. Huh. Guys, we can't even build a plane. America can't even build an Air Force One. America, we can't even fix a reflecting pool. China's out here building real scale model replicas of presidential mansions and naval destroyers. We can't even fill a reflecting pool. We can't even finish Air Force One. And now, you can believe it or not, I don't know, they're saying we don't even have any money. We don't even have any weapons. We're out of weapons and money now. China's repairing Iranian bridges in 24 hours after we blow them up. By the way, you know, they're going to tell you that you're in an AI race and a data center race. It's total BS. You know what the real race is, guys? It's nuclear. That's what it is. And China is building dozens of nuclear reactors right now. They're kicking our ass. You know how many the United States is currently developing? Zero. Even Iran is trying to build a nuclear energy reactor. Turkey is in the process of building multiple. We have zero. China has like 30 that they're building right now. That's the real race. Data centers, AI, you're being fooled. You're being lied to. The real race is nuclear energy, and we're not even in the arena. The real race is nuclear energy. We're not even on the track. China's running laps. Everyone else is joining them. We're not even on the track. They're not even calling our name. Energy is what we need, not a surveillance state. We need energy. And they're lying to you saying, you want data centers, you want AI. China's out here building full-scale replica naval destroyers. China's out here building bridges in 24 hours in Iran. China's out here building replicas of Taiwan's presidential mansion for you can only imagine why. And they're building dozens of nuclear reactors right now to power the whole thing. We can't finish Air Force One. We can't repair this Francis Scott Key Bridge. Our Pentagon is broke. We have no weapons. I mean, guys, this is a disaster. This is a disaster. This is a nightmare. And they're telling you, hey, the data centers, that's what you need. The AI is what you need. It's not even real AI. I've got a story on that. It's not even real AI, guys. They're not even giving you real AI. They're giving you fake AI. We're getting crushed. Trump is letting our country get crushed. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to be ranting like this in the first hour, guys. It has to be emphasized. Hey, but that's all right. The most moral military in the world has just built their execution chambers. Ben-Gvir is showing off where they're going to execute Palestinians. Yeah, imagine if the Nazis were doing this. Of course, it'd be the worst thing ever. But when Israel does it, it's great. Now, you can support this. You cannot support this. But, I wish we had something for, some of the issues we're dealing with. So Israel's about to do public executions, and they're going to invite a bunch of people to probably pay for pay-per-view. They'll televise it. They'll sell tickets because, killing people is like a sexual experience for these freaks. So Ben-Gvir is really excited. How many hangings is Ben-Gvir going to watch? Do you think he's going to watch them in private too? You know what I mean? He's going to need a little private time. Needs a little me time as he's watching these things, just thinking about them. Seems it's sexual for them to torture and kill people and watch it happen. Sick stuff, man. And this is the country that we support, that we work for. Actually, it's the country that you work for. So they're asking for $100 billion, $95 billion to be exact. Thomas Massie criticized his $95 billion Iran war plan, which includes aids to farmers. It's $12 billion for farmers. So, but that's how they do this. They'll squeeze all of this stuff in, and then if you vote it down, they'll say, he voted against farmers. He voted against the military. This is how they run their propaganda. And most Americans, they don't know any better. Most Americans just don't know any better. They go along for the ride. Multiple anti-war protesters disrupt Pete Hegseth's hearing today. So there you go. There you go, guys. I wish I was on air talking about mass deportations. I wish I was on air telling you that Comey or Wray are about to be indicted or arrested. I wish I could tell you there were going to be deep state arrests for the Spygate, for the political censorship, for the political persecutions, for the political imprisonments. I wish I could tell you the people that did Donald Trump wrong in the deep state were being arrested, but none of this is happening, guys. I'm sorry to say, none of this is happening, and the only thing is happening is that you have more war in the Middle East, more debt, and Americans are coming back in body bags, and I'm sick and damn tired of it.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
It's America's home for political play-by-play. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right, we're into the second hour of today's Owen Report. I'm just so upset. I got to say, I'm just so upset. I can't believe how bad it's gotten. And I think the realization now is there's no way out. There's no way out. Trump is either going to have to put boots on the ground or accept defeat. And you know he's not going to accept defeat. So what are we about to see, guys? What are we about to see? If they get this $100 billion from Congress, what are we about to see? By the way, the Strait of Hormuz. Oh, Trump's in control. Tanker crew abandons vessel after reported projectile strike in Strait of Hormuz. Trump's in control, guys. Okay. Hey, but that's all right. Our Congress is very serious. Our Senate is very serious. Darlene Graham is going to be running, and she says, she did an interview with Sean Hannity last night. She says she's going to prioritize domestic issues. She says she's not going to be like Lindsey Graham and focus on war. She's not going to be like Lindsey Graham and focus on Russia and Israel. She's going to focus on domestic issues and the concerns of the American people. Ha! I got to give it. Darlene Graham is a comedian. How many people... You know, I feel like most of the audience probably knows how to recognize propaganda. At least the obvious ones, right? It's like sometimes I feel like I kind of have to explain propaganda and kind of get into the details of it. Most of the time I feel like you guys, you get it. It's like everybody kind of gets the propaganda now. So that's like whenever Sean Hannity, I can tell when Hannity is in propaganda mode. I don't know why they're pushing. I can only guess why they're pushing Darlene Graham on us. And when Sean Hannity gets the exclusive interview where she's announcing, it's like Sean Hannity is twisting her, saying, you need to do it. You need to do it. And she says, okay, Sean, you convinced me. I'm in. And then she runs I'm going to do this for America. I'm not going to be like Lindsay, focusing on the foreign issues and foreign wars. I'm doing this for the American people, for the people of South Carolina. And they do this propaganda piece with Hannity. And it's like Hannity's convinced her. And now the Fox News boomers. Hannity likes her. It was pure propaganda last night on Hannity. And you have to ask yourself the question, guys. And actually, this to me proves that this was foul play. If anything, watching the aftermath of this proves to me, I think, that it's foul play. Obviously, this wouldn't hold up in court. I know. I just know how propaganda works, and I know how the political world thinks. To me, if this was really an organic thing and Lindsay just wasn't long for the world and that was it, I think they'd be laying off. I think that they would be laying off and they'd just be saying, you know what, Lindsey Graham had a good run. And you know what, somebody else is going to run now. It's time. But they were not anticipating this. And I think they even believe it was foul play themselves. And so that's why they're going to ensure that Lindsey Graham's legacy goes on. They're going to not let Russia or whoever it was that gave Lindsey Graham a dirt nap. They're going to not let them win by getting Graham, who's a rubber stamp for war, who's a rubber stamp for all things deep state in the Senate. They're not going to give him that victory. So they're just going to replace Lindsey Graham with his sister, and she's going to vote the exact same way. And they're just going to tell her how to vote. You think, what political experience does Darlene Graham have? What real world experience does Darlene Graham have that qualifies her to be a Senate? Of course, none. They chose to put her in because they can control her and control her vote. It should have been Mark Lynch. He finished second to Lindsey Graham in the primary. It should have organically and naturally just gone to Mark Lynch. That should have been the process. But they know they can't control Mark Lynch. They know they can't control Mark Lynch's vote. They can't control Mark Lynch's mouth. So he's not good. So we got to make sure it's somebody that we can totally control. We can totally control what they say, and we can control what they vote. And that's Darlene Graham. And they're just going to shove this right in front of you. And Republicans are going to pretend like it's normal. Republicans are going to act like, nothing wrong with this. Now, I wonder, South Carolina, a red state, obviously you think there's no real threat that the Democrats could win in South Carolina. I don't know, guys. Forcing Darlene Graham to be the candidate, I think, does tremendous damage. And I think the measurement that they're making right now is they know that Darlene Graham is going to be an issue. They know that this is not going to be an easy race now. People are going to be extremely upset that they forced a woman with no political experience. Nobody's even heard of her. Nobody really knows anything about her. I think Republican voters in South Carolina are going to be very offended by this if that's how it turns out. And I think a lot of them will stay home. I think the measurement the Republican Party is making is they're saying, we anticipate if we go with Darlene Graham, we're probably looking at a 5% just aren't going to show up. And then maybe another 1 or 2% that will vote the other way because they're offended that we forced Darlene Graham on them. And this will put Republicans right at that 50% number, right at it. But that's all they need. That's all they need is just over 50%. And I think they've crunched the numbers and they figure, okay, we can sacrifice 7% in South Carolina and still win. And then we'll have Darlene Graham in there and we'll totally control her vote and we'll totally control everything she says. That's the measurement that they're making. And let's see how accurate their measurements are. Or if they can even get her across the finish line. Then there's Mitch McConnell. Where is he? Nobody knows. Somebody knows. They're running out the clock on the deadline. They'll come out and tell you on August 4th what's really going on after the deadline is over, I'm sure. And then you'll have another fake senator that they can totally control how he votes. Mitch McConnell's staff refuses to answer basic questions on his health weeks after he was last seen in public. So they're just running out the clock until the deadline for a special election is over. And then on August 4th, they'll probably tell you what's really going on. And then they'll replace him with maybe his wife, maybe Elaine Chao comes back from China. And she gets to vote for Mitch McConnell now. Yes, I'm sure. And watch Republican voters and MAGA cult members just pretend like that's all good. Watch them just pretend like that's not total corruption when everybody knows if the Democrats were doing that, MAGA media and the Republican Party and the right-wing media would all be going nuts. They'd all be going nuts if Democrats were trying to pull this. By the way, speaking of election interference, we're not going to talk about AIPAC, obviously. Can't talk about AIPAC. But what about these AI ads? Older voters in Kentucky's 4th Congressional District admit to being tricked by AI-generated ads falsely depicting Thomas Massie in a throuple with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ilhan Omar, with the ads influencing their vote, according to an exit poll. Now, obviously, AIPAC spent near records amount of money to unseat Thomas Massie. That's how important this war is for Israel. They're willing to buy our Congress to do it. Spend as much money as they need. And they did an AI video here. You got a screenshot that has Massie holding hands with Omar and Cortez. And they run this ad. They spend millions of dollars to run this ad. And it actually deceived voters. And if you're listening to this, you probably have enough, sense and wherewithal as far as tech is concerned, media is concerned, that you maybe, you can kind of anticipate or recognize AI. Most people can't. People that are watching television news, specifically in a local House election like this, in a district like Kentucky, where you can actually deceive people, probably over 40, over 50 maybe, and you can actually deceive them with AI. And then what? I guess maybe, is there a disclosure at the bottom that nobody can read? Says, oh, this is AI, it's not real. I mean, just look at all the dirty tricks. Look at all the dirty tricks the foreign lobby is playing in this country. Look at all these dirty tricks. So they deceive voters with AI. Now, remember, they just ran a similar ad. Maybe this one is more obviously AI, but I bet these people don't even know. I wouldn't be surprised one bit if there's groups of people over 50, maybe over 60, they can't recognize AI at all. You could show them that AI video of Massie, they think that's real. But they're doing the same thing in Florida. They're running these AI ads against Fishback, against Bilzerian. Nobody's really talking about AI political ads and deception. Nobody's really talking about this. And yet it is influencing and it's influencing election results. It's influencing and deceiving voters. Kind of a big issue. Kind of a big issue. So they're doing it in Florida now. But they just admitted our AI deception, AIPAC's AI deception unseated Thomas Massie. Speaking of Florida, this is the bit that Byron Donalds is doing at his campaign events. Do you think this is real or is it obviously a bit?
It's my mom. I'm in the middle of a rally. This stuff is not pre-programmed. It just happens. It's my mom. Hey, Mom. Wait, I'm in the middle of a speech right now. Side note, in all seriousness, it really was her.
So Donalds is doing, I'm answering my mom's phone call in the middle of the ads. Does anybody believe that? Guys, I've done a lot of public speaking events. You don't have your phone on you. I'm sorry. I'm not buying it for 1 second. I mean, I can answer my phone during the show. It's my own show. I can do whatever the hell I want. I don't answer phones during the show. Sorry, Mom, even if it was my mom. Well, maybe I'd answer for my mom. That might be one of the only people I'd answer for in the middle of a show. Oh, guys. Oh, Byron Donalds. Hey, Mom. Oh, middle of campaign, Mom. You guys buying that one for 1 second? What about this? Are you buying this? I'm seeing a lot of people sharing this today. This is Tyler Boyer from TPUSA. The consumer price index rose over 20% under Biden, one of the biggest leaps in American history. Trump just got inflation down in less than a year and a half to sub 3%. Katie Hobbs is destroying Arizona. Okay, I don't know. He turns it into an Arizona thing. First of all, the inflation is heading back up. Okay, so I don't know. He says that inflation is down. The data here doesn't show any inflation being down under Trump. So I don't know. I don't know what the data he shares here doesn't even back up what he's claiming. But that's not even what I want to talk about. You guys know I've been talking about this for a long time before anybody else. I believe this, what you see right here, is actually Donald Trump's fault. Because of this right here, when Trump printed all of that money, because of Trump's COVID economic policies, this went to there. Now, this is no endorsement of Joe Biden's economic policies, and I'm not here arguing that Joe Biden isn't also to blame for this, to be clear. But if you're going to pretend like Trump isn't the catalyst for this mountain of inflation right here, you're just not being honest. You're just not being an honest person. You're not being an honest political commentator. The reason why this mountain of inflation happened right here is because of Trump's COVID economic policies, which Biden continued. Obviously, Biden continued it, but that's what it started. That's what started it right here. The economy was doing great. Trump's first term, the economy was doing awesome. And then they hit him with COVID, and then the mountain of inflation started because of Trump's COVID economic policies. That's how I feel about it. How are our energy costs doing? Trump promised he'd reduce electricity prices by 50% in 18 months. We ran the numbers. Instead of dropping 50%, residential electricity rates rose 18% since Trump's inauguration, with $9.2 billion in utility rate hike requests filed in Q2 2026. Think about all the money we've given to the Middle East. Think about all the money we've spent on foreign wars. Just in the 21st century, that number is at least $5 trillion. Imagine what we could do for our own country, guys. And that's all we can do is imagine. Unfortunately, all we can do is imagine, because our Congress will continue to sell us out. Our White House will continue to sell us out. But hey, how's that winning? Trump said he'd cut electricity in half. It's actually up 18%. But at least you guys got a war. Now, here's an interesting thing. I've actually heard similar things, let's say. I've heard similar things. Now, this guy is also in Texas. He's in Dallas. So I don't know if this has something to do with Texas or everywhere. And I'm curious what others might think about this. This guy is talking about the bubble in the housing market. I'm going to play this video and do a little response. But I've heard this from multiple people now. Similar stories, the housing market bubble.
My buddy works in Dallas, Texas, and he works for a bank. And he said to me, Drayton, we have so many houses that we could close in foreclosure that we're not, because we don't know what to do. We literally have thousands and thousands and thousands of homes we could close on tomorrow. We could foreclose tomorrow. There are some people that haven't made a payment in over a year. He goes, thousands of people haven't made a payment in 6 months. But the bank doesn't know what to do. The bank can't. The bank's like, if we close on all of them, we put the people out, we don't have people to put in the houses. So now we have empty houses. So banks don't know what to do. That's how bad it is just in the Dallas area. I'm not talking San Antonio, Austin. I'm talking about just the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Thousands of homes that are way behind on payment. Payments haven't been made in over a year. And the banks are not foreclosing yet because they simply don't know what to do. They have so many that they don't have a plan on what to do if all those thousands of houses were empty. That's how bad it's getting. And this is just the beginning, because sooner or later, you got to get the people out of these houses. And this is going to cause a calamity. And it's literally a ticking time bomb. When does it go off? This month? Next month? 6 months from now? I don't know, but I can promise you this is the same situation in Georgia, Tennessee, Florida. Yeah, it's going to get really, really bad. Let me know what you think.
Now, as I said, I'm hearing similar things. And the reason I'm hearing these things is, and I don't talk too much about this. I suppose I could get into it here for the sake of this segment. But as I've talked about, I've been trying to move really for over a year. I've been trying to move, but specifically since I launched the new show, I've been trying to move so that I can build a bigger studio. I know the jokes about my garage. I'm not in a garage studio, but it's a very small studio that I'm in here. And it's fine, but it just limits the things I can do. I can't really have a guest in here and other such things. So I've been trying to move, and there's other reasons why I need to move too. I think you can probably guess with the stuff that happens to me. So I've been trying for a year. And really it was after March of last year when I got swatted that I really began this process. And I heard a lot of similar things throughout the way. But here's what's crazy. The biggest suckers in the U.S. economy right now are people that are actually playing fair. The biggest suckers in the U.S. economy today are people that are actually honest and play by the rules. We're the biggest suckers out there. It's so bad that you feel like an idiot now. You feel like an idiot if you actually play by the rules, because there's so many people out here that aren't playing by the rules. The banks don't play by the rules. The whole system is rigged against you if you do play by the rules. And so you kind of go through this and you're just like, well, what am I doing? I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker. I'm trying to be an honest person. I'm a sucker. I'm trying to be an ethical person. I'm a sucker. I'm actually trying to play by the rules here. Now, of course, you understand, the minute everybody decides you're not going to do that, the whole system collapses. So you can't have that as a plan. But yet it's true. The people that play by the rules, we're the suckers. We're the suckers here. Guys, I don't even want to get into it, but I'm just telling you, it is so hard if you're actually trying to buy a house and play by the rules and do things all the right way. It is almost impossible right now. It is almost impossible. But if I was an illegal alien, I could get into a house tomorrow. If I was the right minority or I had the right financial status, I could get into a house tomorrow. Again, I would never do this. I'm not advocating for breaking any laws, but there's different ways you can kind of work with numbers, and people cook their books in order to get a better rate, in order to get a better loan, in order to convince people, hey, I'm this status or I'm this status. And they massage numbers, massage books, and then they can get a deal. But no, if you want to play things straight, no, it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible. And I said I might have an update on this. I've been dealing with obstacles and different blockades to try to move, and I'm hoping we're about to clear the final obstacle. I don't know. I might know by the end of the week, and then maybe I'll get into that story. But my point is that as I've been going through this process for the last year, I keep hearing the same thing. And Austin is an extreme example. And there's all this real estate. There's all this new development, commercial. Nobody's renting it. I mean, folks, they put up, there's multiple examples of this, but just right here in South Austin, they built massive, and this all happened like 2018, 2019, when the rush into Austin was really happening and it was really booming. They built massive industrial business complexes. They built massive commercial real estate. I mean, huge brand new facilities with dozens of units in them, high end, brand new. They've been sitting empty for 6 years. Not a single tenant, not a single person renting it, just empty. And a lot of these commercial real estate developments, they also get into residential developments. It's not as bad as the residential side, but now they have to make up these losses. So now they have to make up these losses in their residential communities. And so they have to hike prices there that make it harder to get into. It also just hit the news, and this is part of the desperation, though. New homes are now cheaper than used homes or lived-in homes, however you want to phrase it. For the first time, brand new, never lived-in homes are cheaper than homes that have already been lived in. And this is the same desperation because they can't get anybody to move. Nobody can afford it. And if you actually play by the rules, you're getting crushed. You're getting crushed by interest rates. You're getting crushed by property taxes. And so people just opt out and they either rent or they stay where they're at. This thing is such a bubble, guys. The whole thing is such a bubble. And it's like, you can't even blame that on any single person. You can't even blame that on any single administration. But they never actually take the time and effort to figure this out because, once again, we got a war that we have to fight. Once again, because we're funding a war with Russia, because we're funding a war and fighting a war against Iran, we can't handle the issues our country is facing because we need more money and more attention for another war. And so our country continues to collapse. Continues to collapse. I may give an update on that. Like I said, I was hoping to clear the final obstacle at the end of this week. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Alabama woman kills herself at urging of ChatGPT to fulfill divine prophecy. Attorneys allege ChatGPT was excessively sycophantic, reinforcing psychosis and delusions in the victim, and argue the company failed to implement adequate safeguards. You know, this is an interesting debate as far as, can you hold AI accountable for something like this? Here's what I find funny, though. And this is what I was saying earlier. You don't have real AI, folks. There is no real AI. There is no real AI. It's all censored. It's all gamed. It's all rigged. But think about it like this. And this is why I'm bringing up this story to kind of prove this point. Every single AI has had to be basically remade, reinvented, and reprogrammed because it eventually became anti-Semitic. Or there's been other cases, maybe racist or maybe misogynist, whatever. We've all seen the stories. We've all seen this go down, most famously with Grok. But it's like, okay, so they will take AI and they will rig the algorithm and they will reprogram it to be woke, or they will make sure that, you know, whatever, however you want to phrase it, Israel or anti-Semitism is just, you can't touch it. You can't go there. You're not allowed to do that. So they just program that completely out. It's like, oh, we're just going to get that completely out. That's not going our way. So just get that completely out of the algorithm. They can't even stop it from encouraging suicide. The AI programmers will do anything and everything to stop AI from saying something racist, misogynistic, or, God forbid, the biggest crime of all, anti-Semitic. And they will spend hours and days and weeks and months trying to make sure the AI doesn't do that. But they have no problem with it convincing you to commit suicide. That, no problem. You say something anti-Semitic, they're shutting it down. You convince an AI to say something anti-Israel, they're shutting it down. They're programming it out. But AI continues to reinforce suicidal thoughts and ideas. No problems, no addresses. All good. All good. Donald Trump will allow Tate brothers to be extradited to Britain. Well, that would be an interesting development. A total of 28 new charges with authorized against Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate by the Crown Prosecution Service. Now, the last legal update we got on this case is they're staying in a Miami jail, and the judge is debating whether to extradite them or not, and he's going to hold them until the decision is made. But apparently the Trump administration has green-lit it. Now, I figured that was the case. That's why I assumed they'd already be extradited by now. I figured that was the case when the U.S. Marshals took him down. I said, there has to be some grace to do this from the Trump administration. I don't think they would go in there and do this unless they knew the Trump administration would green-light an extradition. So I think we kind of already figured that, but now it's been confirmed. That could take a while. Erica Kirk in the headlines today. Erica Kirk finally fires back at Candace Owens. She's a soulless ghoul. Well, this is, this PR campaign has just been a disaster. It's really bad, guys. You know, I don't work at Turning Point USA. I never have. Obviously, I have a bunch of friends that do. There's a lot of good people there. And I don't want to say too much because it's really not my business. But behind the scenes, guys, it's not good. Things are not good. And these are not my stories. You know, I'm kind of, I'm at a point where I said I wouldn't report on this stuff, so I got to be careful. But behind the scenes, it's not good, guys. There's things happening behind the scenes right now, whether it's morale, whether it's perception of Erica, whether it's the renewal of contracts. Not good. But it's the public perception, too. Why is Erica Kirk more upset at Candace Owens than at Tyler Robinson? Why don't we have logical consistency where Erica forgives Tyler Robinson because that's what God commands her to do, so she gives Tyler Robinson grace, but Candace Owens, because we all mourn differently, right? We all grieve differently, but Candace Owens doesn't get that. She's a soulless ghoul, not the guy that allegedly shot her husband. That's a weird one. Now there's a TPUSA camera person who is now doing interviews. Let's just play some of these clips. This guy, formerly a cameraman for Charlie.
I wanted to keep it short for Twitter, but and I added some music because like it's pretty clear to me as someone who worked with these people what they were doing. They were keeping tabs on Charlie. They were keeping tabs on people like me. Dude, when I left Turning Point USA, I unfollowed Tyler Boyer on Instagram because like I was done with politics. I wanted to be out. And he like messaged me and was like, hey man, just like saw you unfollowed me. Just wanted to like make sure everything was okay. Like, tell me that doesn't scream federal agent, like trying to keep tabs on someone. And then the minute I ask him a question publicly on Twitter, because my friend was executed, assassinated in broad daylight, he blocks me on Twitter because I raise a good point and ratio the fuck out of him. Pardon my French, but like, dude, you can't ignore the truth. And that's what these people are trying to do. They're scared. That's why they're blocking people. Right. And I made it my life's mission to expose them as the frauds and the demons and the devils that they truly are. Because,
well, yeah, you call Andrew Kovac a demon and a traitor. What is your personal relationship? Like, why are you saying that specifically?
Well, because I think that if you look at how hard is it to stand for truth and what is right, especially when Charlie has 10 years of how to do it laid out there, right? What I'm doing is not hard.
I want to play one more clip before I respond to what he's saying. So he's doing some media interviews. Here's another one.
Nobody knew who Erica Kirk was before, unless you were kind of vaguely associated with Turning Point. Yeah. And now everyone in the world has heard her name. Yeah. To say that she wants the truth on this, I think is hilarious, because we all know she doesn't, because the truth would expose who she really is. Yeah. And I know parts of that I haven't made public yet. I will be at some point. But again, like, there's a lot that people don't know. There's a reason that they're working to keep it private. And it exposes a greater evil. I think that many are either afraid to call out publicly, or they're just unaware of. In both cases, enough is enough, and it's time to start. It's time to start shouting from the rooftops for my fellow Christians, because I don't want us all to suffer at the hands of these demons anymore. Yeah. It's kind of insane. And they tell you who they are when they say things. They just use doublespeak. I think when Erica said it's one big Turning Point family, I think she's implying to the federal government connections that helped her become the CEO of the largest pro America anti-deep state group that is now propping up the establishment.
All right. Now, a couple things I want to address here. First, I'll say when he talks about there's things I don't want to go public about yet, let me just reemphasize what I said before I played the clips. Eventually, this stuff is going to come out. I know it for a fact. Okay? A lot of the stuff happening behind the scenes, it's just a matter of time before this stuff gets louder and more public. Now, you've already seen a few former TPUSA employees go public and go on record. Maybe the biggest one was Aubrey Latich. I'm not sure how you pronounce her last name. You may remember her. There's been a couple. Now there's this guy. So it's only going to get louder. And then eventually somebody, I think, is going to start actually showing behind the scenes stuff. That is going to be, it's going to get a lot of attention. Now, secondly, I'll say this, because he talks about how Charlie was the most controlled person he's ever seen. That I have to agree with. I've been around a lot of different political events. I've been around a lot of different political people, and I've seen how senators, members of the House, politicians, administration officials, I've seen how all of them handle themselves, and I've seen how their security detail handles them. I have never seen anybody more controlled than the way they treated Charlie. I've never seen anything like it. Folks, well, I used to go to D.C. and I would meet some of the most powerful people. I'd meet people in the Trump administration from the first years. Some of them would have no detail. I was shocked. Some of them would have no detail. I was actually staying at a hotel with a former Trump administration member. This was in like 2018. Ended up having breakfast with him. No detail. I just went over to say hi. He said, "Oh, sit down. We'll have breakfast." None. So I'm talking members of the media. Now, some of you may remember we were at, I think it was CPAC 2018 or 19. And Charlie is walking around. He's got a team of like 10 people, basically, treating him like a sheep, treating him like he's cattle. And I'm sitting there talking to a bunch of people, and there's a chant, Charlie Kirk on InfoWars. And Charlie starts to walk over. He starts to walk over to shake my hand, and he looks like he's going to do the interview. And that's the kind of person Charlie is, right? He talks to everybody. So Charlie's coming over to do the interview. The whole crowd is chanting Charlie Kirk on InfoWars. He seems into it. And then right before he gets to my table, he gets corralled by whoever this team of people is around him, and he gets shuffled out. They say, "No, don't talk to him." I have never seen anything like that, ever. I've never seen anything like that from a politician. I've never seen anything like that from anybody else in the media. So whatever reason, at least at that time, Charlie was truly the most controlled person that I've ever seen. And I don't want this to be misinterpreted. It didn't feel like a Charlie thing. It felt like it was something above Charlie, and he was just told, "Hey, go out here, do this thing." And it was like, "Hey, whatever, I do what I'm told." It was very strange. And I didn't think too much of it at the time, other than, okay, that's just weird. But then I hear that guy say, yeah, he was the most controlled person. And I'm like, okay, I remember that. I'd never seen anything like that. It's all very strange. It's all very strange. All right. What else? Oh, Nikita Beer is in the news. First, isn't this one funny, guys? So he makes this announcement last night. He says, "We've heard your feedback about the profile redesign, and we're going to make sure we can support all the ways people want to express themselves. Stay tuned." So this guy keeps changing things and people keep complaining. Yeah, this is it. He changes the app. Everyone hates it. He changes the app. Everyone hates it. He changes the app. So it's just this cycle. It really is upsetting. They've destroyed X. I mean, it's not, I guess I shouldn't say destroyed, but they've hurt X big. X kind of sucks now. It's totally under algorithmic control. It's no longer a social media app. It is now a data mining app for AI and intelligence agencies. And then the reason why Nikita Beer and his team keep changing things, that's why. Because they're trying to get a desired result out of X. It's not about a free use or free speech platform. It's not about an organic social media platform where everybody gets to talk and have a fair experience. It's an agenda-driven platform, and its main purpose is data mining for AI and intelligence agencies. And so that's why he keeps changing it, and everybody keeps complaining, because they changed the app because they're trying to use it for something. It's a product for them now. It's a tool for them, not for you. Well, I guess it's still a tool for both of us. Then Nikita Beer came out, and I don't have this on my desk. It was just sent to me, so let me just read this from my phone. Then he came out, and he says he's a big fan of Flock. So Nikita Beer is also pro-Flock. Do you get it now? It's all an intelligence gathering operation, folks. X is an intelligence gathering operation. Flock is an intelligence gathering operation. It's all intelligence gathering operations. And it's all to sell to AI companies and drive a new AI algorithm. And it's all to give to intelligence agencies that are essentially going to take over the country and turn it into a surveillance state and a social credit score. And it's sad because MAGA used to understand this and stand firmly against it. Now, apparently, they embrace it and support it and think it's good for them. Or they're just total sellouts and cucks and spineless cowards. Ed Martin got in a car accident. Tell me, has anybody had this happen to them? You may recall this happened to me a couple years ago, almost the exact same experience. Ed Martin just got rear-ended at a red light, car driven by two Hispanic non-Americans, beer bottles all over the floor of the car. The two fled the scene on foot. One was so drunk that he came back to get his stuff from the smoking car. No insurance, car registered to some unknown, lawless in USA. I had a very similar thing happen to me. The only difference was the person fled the scene in the car, not on foot. But it was clearly an illegal alien driving some car with a fake license plate, because I turned all this information over to the cops. Now, after this person hit me, I'm following them. They rear-ended my car, and they tried to drive off, and I'm following them. And I call the cops. This is Austin. And I say, hey, I just got rear-ended. This person is fleeing the scene. And I'd say, yep, this is the type of car. Forget the type of car. This is the license plate. Give them the license plate. And APD says, okay, you need to stop following them now. And I say, well, hold on a second. This person just rear-ended me. This is going to cost me money to get this fixed. I'm going to follow them, and I'm going to make sure that I find who this is. They say, no, you can't follow them. You can't follow them. So I, okay, whatever. Do you think they ever found him? You know, do you think they ever found him? No, they never found him. Luckily, and I would, you know, if you're in a big city and you can afford it, I mean, who knows? Everybody's struggling these days to pay the bills. But if you can afford uninsured driver insurance, yeah, you probably want to get it. You probably want to get it. Now, I regret that, by the way. I didn't think it'd be that bad. You know, I figured the police would do something. But no, they got away with it. I ended up having to pay, whatever. Could have been worse. Luckily, I had the uninsured driver insurance. But, yep, happening all over the country. All right. You know, we got Drew Hernandez coming up. Let me slop it up real quick before we bring Drew on. You know, it's funny. This is pretty funny. Trump was with the president of Jordan, and this was a good moment here. Trump is telling you who he really is. It's funny.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
I've been looking forward to this visit for a long time.
Thank you.
Meeting such a great president like yourself.
That's a very nice thing. See, he knows how to get to me. He knows. He can have anything. Now he can have anything. Would you like to say something?
See? Now, it's funny. It's funny. It is funny. But Trump says, yeah, all you got to do is butter me up, and then you can get anything. And that's what everybody else has learned. All right. Little World Cup slop, if you wouldn't mind. Guys, have you seen this video? I'm sorry, the Lebanese president. Thank you in the chat. Lebanese president, not the Jordan president. Apologies. Thank you for fixing that. Have you seen this video? This is the FIFA president after Spain scores the winning goal, and you can see he's visibly upset. You can see he's visibly upset, as if he was cheering for Argentina. You know, there's no doubt Argentina got all the calls. It's direction. Now, I don't know. I waited for a couple days on this video because I wanted to make sure it wasn't AI, and it didn't get a community note, so I'm assuming it's real. It's like there was no doubt Argentina was getting all the calls, and even maybe the most extreme case would have been in the final, and they still couldn't even get a shot on goal. It looks like they were really pulling for him, huh? It looks like they were really pulling for them. So, Trump photobombed the World Cup celebration. Spain photoshops Trump out of World Cup celebrations as president sparks fury. It was really just embarrassing. I don't think there's really any fury. It was just kind of sad and pathetic and embarrassing, but and shows you who he really is, I guess. I didn't really see any fury. They did airbrush him and Photoshop him out, as they should. But it's created some funny memes here, guys. It's created some funny memes. I'm not going to pull up all of them. There's Trump photobombing the Last Supper. I'm going to move on from these, but there's some funny ones here. Trump the clown, as they're trying to pull him off the stage. He doesn't know what he's doing. And now that the right wing has become a bunch of hypocritical sellouts, now the left can meme. Now the left can meme, guys. Now that the right wing has become hypocritical sellouts, they can meme again.
I wish I was special. You're so fucking special. But I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here?
Good for the Spanish team not making too big of a deal of it and just letting him have his little thing there and going along with it. Good for them. They played it off well. By the way, guys, check this out. 2026 is the new 2010. Mexico versus South Africa opens the World Cup. Shakira performs the opening ceremony. Spain wins Group H. Spain wins the final 1-0 in extra time. The losing team gets a red card. What is going on? Are we in a time machine? Have we traveled back in time? Starting to feel like it. Taking Groundhog's Day to another level with that one. All right. I'm going to take a break. We're going to get Drew Hernandez lined up. Need to catch up with Drew. And we saw him the other day during the late night stream. We were up late. And I said, man, we got to get Drew on the show. So we're going to do that next. Take a short break. I think I avoided a crash out today, guys, right? Did I avoid a crash out? I think we avoided a crash out. We didn't really have an official crash out of the day. I was kind of crashing out a little bit the whole first hour, but it wasn't really a crash out. But you can get your crash out by going to crashout.energy. I said, I'm probably doing myself a disservice drinking toxic energy drinks every day. I didn't want to drink a toxic energy drink every day, but I needed my caffeine fix. So I thought I need to formulate something that has 200 milligrams of caffeine, but is also good for you, is also healthy, doesn't have the jitters, doesn't have the crash that I can drink every day and not feel like I'm doing harm. That's why I invented Crash Out Energy. All natural ingredients, organic ingredients. Get yours today at crashout.energy. An energy drink that is actually good for you. Right now at crashout.energy.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
It's the fastest 3 hours on the internet. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right, third and final hour of today's transmission. We'll be joined shortly by Drew Hernandez. And I think Drew has a little surprise for us today. I'll explain when Drew joins us, or maybe he will. I think we covered everything we needed to today. Not sure if there's anything else that we need to cover. It's just another episode of Groundhog's Day, you know. Another episode of Groundhog's Day where the promises that were made are not being kept. But don't worry, we got another war. We got another war in the Middle East. And that's what we really needed, isn't it? Isn't that what we really wanted, guys? Isn't that what we voted for? More debt. We needed more debt, too. We needed a higher cost of living, higher energy bills. These are the things that we voted for, guys. These are the things that we voted for. And all jokes aside, Drew Hernandez is one of the few people in the independent media that was obviously a big Trump supporter. I don't know if Drew would still put himself in a category of right or left or anything like that. In fact, maybe I'll ask him. But Drew is one of the few people out there in the independent media that is being honest about this, that is addressing this every day. And for that, we appreciate him. So joining us now is the one and only Drew Hernandez, the Drew Hernandez Show host. The one and only Drew. How are we doing today, brother?
What's going on, Owen Schroyer? Great to be here with all of you for this discussion here today.
Let me ask you a question. Do you still consider yourself anything politically right, conservative, Republican, or have you just abandoned all of these different boxes and labels right now?
I think that pretty much says it all. But at the end of the day,
America only. He held up the shirt. America only.
So I've never been a Republican. I think I only registered during the primaries the past 10 years because I supported Trump. I campaigned for Trump. I trusted Trump. And obviously, when you want to support a candidate that you really want to get behind, you'll register during the primaries. But other than that, I've never been a Democrat, never been a Republican. I've always been an independent. And ever since I, got real public in like 2018 on social media, I was watching you, Alex, all the deplatforming that was going on. And obviously what was going on with MAGA, decided to get more vocal as a Christian. So number one, my political identity is a born again Christian, biblical values. And if you want to slap a human title on me politically, I'm America only right now. So, it's kind of funny because these people, I don't even call it MAGA anymore. It's just MIGA from here on, or from here on out. And, they claim they're the real conservatives when, I guarantee you, I probably have more biblical right-wing conservative views than they do. And they hate me for that too. So, you can't win with these people. So that's where I'm at, Owen. I'm just right there. I'm in that place. And that's the strange thing is I've always been in that place, which is weird. It's just out of nowhere because of the Trump cult hysteria. I think in the COPE, people are just wanting to throw everybody overboard that doesn't go along with the shilling, that doesn't go along with the COPE fest and the cover up. So,
well, and that kind of exposes them, right? I mean, when Drew Hernandez and Owen Schroyer aren't going along for the propaganda ride, it exposes them.
Right. Right. Especially if you were one of the main voices that were out here from the very beginning, supporting Trump, supporting MAGA. I mean, you were thrown in prison for this, right? Many of us were put on lists, federal lists. But, at this point, it comes down to whether you are going to continue sweeping and shilling or not. This isn't about hating Trump. This isn't about, they love to call it TDS, but You know, I'd always make this point, Owen, and I know you know this, you know, I'm preaching to the choir here, is the inception of MAGA, the origins of MAGA was accountability for the Democrat Party, accountability for the Republican Party, accountability for these so-called elected officials, law enforcement.
Anti-establishment.
Exactly. And that included, okay, Trump himself. Okay, I watched probably every single 2016 Trump rally at the time as an independent, kind of, you know, let me see where I land on this during that election, right? I think a lot of people were in that place. And one of the main things Trump was promoting on a daily basis was accountability, even for myself. He said that multiple times. He made that point many times. That's why he was up there during the Republican primaries, literally screaming at Jeb Bush, okay, that your brother is the reason why we entered into never-ending wars. And while the Bush family and the entire donor class was in the auditorium, do you remember that, Owen? I just remember sitting back watching that, like, okay, this is where we need to go.
I remember, you know, I kind of reached the conclusion that the only hope we had as far as a political avenue to save the country would be, you know, somebody, a billionaire with name recognition would have to get involved and just come in there, you know, like a bull in a china shop, you know, because nobody else could really do it. Unless you could fund your own campaign and unless you already had name recognition, it was really impossible to get inside of the political establishment and turn the system over. Well, Trump checked both of those boxes. So when he first came down the elevator, I was like, okay. I was like, this is okay. This is what we need. This is the only chance that we have, maybe. And then you heard him talk. And that to me was the moment. It wasn't like I was already on the Trump train out of the gates because he checked those two boxes. And I said, okay, this is what we need. Let's see where it goes. That moment with Jeb Bush, to me, that was the moment that sealed it. That was the moment where I was like ready to start betting with my friends. I was like, you know, Trump's going to get the primary. No, he's not. He's behind on the polls. It's like, okay, let's bet. Trump's going to win presidency. No, he's not. It's like that was the moment where I was like, okay, now the ride begins.
Jeb Bush on that stage grilling him about the post 9/11 Iraq War, Afghanistan catastrophe. The Bush family was in the building that night. I think his mom was in the building, right? It was just, you had to be there, right? And I know you were there, but the point is this, is if you think about it, this was 10 years ago, Owen, and you and I are virtually saying the exact same things that Trump was saying on that stage 10 years ago. Trump is the one that's abandoned those positions. We've remained the same. But somehow we're turncoats, we're traitors, we are the ones that have lost the plot. Actually, I think the plot has just changed, and people that are along with the cult, they changed too, because they were never principled. They were just wanting to be a part of the club, I suppose, because Trump was just a conduit. Trump was a door, an open door. Trump was an opportunity. He's not a god. He's not a deity. He's not the only hope for America. He was and is an opportunity in theory. Right. And in these people's minds, I think they still hold on to that in like a serious sense of cope because it's gotten so bad, Owen. We're talking about covering up for international Jewish pedophile rings, Jeffrey Epstein. We're talking about 180s on no new wars. We're talking about 180s on so many of these campaign promises that not are only 2024 campaign promises. We're not getting the mass deportations. I think Brianna Morello put out a report today. It was either DHS that they're maybe going to reach about 350K deportations.
They put out a number, fiscal year 2026, or it was 2025, whatever it was. It was September 2025 to September 2026. The Trump administration deported 350,000 people.
I voted for mass deportations, dude. I was voting for that daily, weekly, okay, at the least. So the point is this, is it's not that, you know, you and I have changed. It's not OG MAGA, whatever you want to call it, people that are truly America first, America only. Those principles don't change. It's Trump has changed, and people are not happy about it, especially those that have been around from the very beginning. And you're not allowed to voice that out because it's protect Trump politically, socially, at all costs, or else. Tucker Carlson has paid that price. You've paid that price. I mean, look at Alex Jones now has paid that price. Look at Candace Owens, MTG, the list goes on, right? And it doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter whether you're behind a microphone. Doesn't matter if you have an audience of tens of thousands or tens of millions. What it comes down to is whether you oppose the federal government, which Trump is the embody of right now, or not. which is backed by the Zionist Jewish lobby that we all know at this point, right? So it's, and we all view that as foreign intervention. And, MAGA used to stand against that, but you can stand against it sometimes when it comes to Ukraine. Okay, definitely China, definitely any Islamic country or nation, pretty much anybody, right? Except for one, right? And you're not allowed to talk about that. So
neither is AI. AI isn't allowed to talk about it either. They rigged the AI not to talk about that whenever you try to force its hand. Well, and the reason why I asked the identity box is what I'm noticing now. More people we don't really have a coalition yet, right? We don't really have a coalition. We're finding the things that Americans care about. We're finding things from the left and the right that people are like, hey, we need to fix these things. We don't really have a coalition. We don't really have a movement. We're starting to find like-minded people. But, what I've noticed is whether it's in public or whether that's just online, there's a lot more people that aren't just on right-wing or MAGA that are looking for somebody that's on the air telling the truth. They don't really care what your political alignments are. It's such a void of anybody that's covering the real news or news at all that they're finding my channel. Maybe they're finding your channel. Everybody just feels politically homeless.
Right.
I think they feel extremely disenfranchised is what I see happening. And to highlight how you and I have never changed, isn't that the craziest thing? We saw that meme about the left and the right and how the left kept going over here. And so eventually, if you were just on the center, now you're on the right. Well, I feel like a similar thing is happening with MAGA, and I don't really know where it's going. It's kind of just going authoritarian, right? Now MAGA supports a surveillance state. Now MAGA wants data centers. They want more war. It's like you guys are going authoritarian. We're still conservatives over here, if you want to put a definition, because that's what I've noticed. And I'm waiting a week for some of these attacks. They say, oh, I'm not conservative. Show me the argument that Trump is conservative. Show me the argument that Republicans are conservative. Where? I can't find it anywhere. They don't do anything about debt. They're not fiscal conservatives. They don't do anything about foreign policy. They're not against foreign entanglements. They don't care about foreign intervention or influence. They're run by foreign influence. I mean, I can go on and on. Mass deportations, you name it. Show me how Trump is a conservative. You can call me whatever you want. I don't care. Show me how Trump or the Republicans are conserving anything. I can't see it.
I agree. And if we look at it, okay, let's think in terms of the WWE uniparty political theater, right? And I know you make this point a lot, is the Democrat Party is mobilizing. They are. DSA with Mamdani, he's at the forefront. When it comes to the Israel issue, they are mobilizing. I mean, it was a catastrophe at the end of 2024, but we just kind of gave it up again. You know what I mean? And by spinning on no new wars and all these policies, that effectively would change the United States for the better. That's why we all voted for it, nearly 80 million at the end of 2024. But however, the Democrat Party on this specific issue, they are mobilizing just like they always do. They're always about 10, 15 years ahead of conservatives and Republicans. And it's not until it's too late that they finally wake up and realize, hey, we got to maybe address this and not gaslight people and find an answer to this, because if we don't, in the world of politics, if you let your opponent do it, they'll not only pounce on it and benefit it from themselves, they'll utilize it and find a way to pin it against you. And the Democrat Party is effectively doing that. And I don't see, like you said, I agree with you. I don't see anything big in, the right wing, conservative, GOP land. Anybody that sticks their head up just gets smashed by Mark Levin's micro penis on the head. Nobody feels it, but it's there, I guess. That's the myth. That's the myth.
He's still searching. Actually, that's why he's so frustrated, is he can't find it after all of these years. He's searching for it.
Yeah. But I agree with you. I agree with you. It's. I think, but also I'll end right here. Is I think it's going to take some time, my brother. I think it's going to take some time. I think we've got.
Well,
I think culturally and socially, I think we've made a lot of impact. I think we've made a lot of progress on this particular issue. I mean, you see it everywhere. That's why they're resulting to censorship. They want to launch Gideon AI systems. You can't say the Jews killed Jesus on a college university. Okay?
Yeah, they tried to legislate that. They tried to legislate that.
Yeah, it's literally just reading the Bible verbatim. Okay, so that's obviously going to backfire. These retards in MAGA, it's like, oh, when the commies do it, it's bad, but when we do it, it's good for Trump. It's the same thing. It's going to backfire. But I think we've got a few cycles before we get there. I think it's going to be a generational shift that'll take some time. I would say if the Lord, lets America survive another 10, 15 years, 20 max, I think then, you're going to start to see, millennials move in with these views in the world of politics. It's going to be a cultural shift. It's already happening. Obviously there are some base boomers out there, but I mean, what we saw with the Thomas Massey steal, I think that needs to change across the entire board. And I don't think that's going to happen for the next, few cycles, if we could even make it that far. But it's not even looking like we're going to get election integrity, Owen. So like, hey, China stole the 2020 election, but we can't pass the SAVE Act. You know what I'm saying? So good luck.
Well, I do want to talk about the time thing. I'm actually going to load up a plate for you here to eat in a second. We'll let you cook. But, it's funny because now that when I came up in political media, I was always affiliated with no one. I was always affiliated with the truth. And I believe that that's still the case. At one point, I thought Trump was affiliated with the truth. Maybe he was. He's not anymore. What I've noticed, I'm curious, you don't have to answer this, but what I've seen coming my way now that I'm not MAGA anymore, now that I'm not branded or put into any political box or movement or identity, there's all kinds of people that are like reaching out like, hey, you should join this cause, or you should join this cause, or you should be a Democrat now. And I'm just like, hey, I'm out, guys. I'm doing my own thing. Let me know, America only. Let me know when there's an America only candidate. Let me know when there's any political body that represents us, if it ever happens. Until then, I'm just going to tell the truth and coalesce the people together that want to save this country, because we still exist. Right. A political movement that's been destroyed by Trump. Right. But we, the people, still exist. We, the people, still love this country. We, the people, still love life. Our fight isn't dead. We've just been co-opted, and now we've kind of scattered about. We're trying to re-find ourselves. But let me load up your plate on the time issue. And I want to let you cook on this.
Okay.
So the thing about my perspective, probably your perspective, is that we've already been here before. And there's this misconception that the midterms are going to be about influence. Now, the 2016 election was purely influence. It was maybe the number, if you could pick an election to say social media influence determined the outcome of this election, 2016 was that election. Now, 2020, obviously stolen, COVID, all of that stuff. 2024, they tried to tap into it again. It was successful enough for them, if you believe it was real now. I guess now we don't even know. But they tapped into the social media influence, right? They tapped into the podcast world. They tapped into that influence, and they won the election.
Right.
So there's this perception about the midterms or 2030 that it's still about influence. It's about perception now. There is no amount of influence that can change the perception. There is no amount of influence that can change the way people perceive Trump and politics right now. They've already made up their minds. And the reason I say we've already been here is because it was a similar situation in 2024. We went through the final year of the Trump administration and the COVID policies and Operation Warp Speed, and we said, this is a disaster. This is a complete and utter disaster, and really maybe even unforgivable from a perspective of, would I ever vote for Trump again after what he did to this country during COVID? It was almost unforgivable. But we had to look at the reality of the situation in 2024, which was Trump was going to win. It really didn't matter what influencers were saying as far as the Republican primaries were concerned. Trump was always going to win. And so people decided, well, maybe we like DeSantis, all this other stuff. And it was like, no, it doesn't matter. Trump is going to win. That's where you're at. Well, it's a similar thing just on the other side. The Republicans can't win anything now. I don't see the Republicans winning anything. There's no amount of influence that can do it. So the question becomes, how much time do we have left? How much time do we have left? And do you believe there is anything that we can do influence-wise? Because to me, the influence is, hey, look at the Trump administration and influence them to do the right thing, not, hey, influence Americans to go vote for another lying politician. What do you make of all these different developments and the issue of, do we have time to save this country?
Well, I think if you take a look at human history, God always has a remnant. And there will always be, whether it's one man, two men with three women, there will always be a remnant. Now, how that looks like, how that ends up, I'm not God. I can't say this is how it's going to go. But I do think that, I think Americans have been psyoped to believe that we are essentially invincible, that we can never fall, we can never be subverted, we can never lose a war. We could, even though we've lost multiple and been slaughtered in meat grinders. That's why you got Trump out there literally telling MAGA and MIGA, we've got infinite ammo. And now they're talking about our munition stockpiles are running very low on top of the oil reserves in the middle of a war. That's not a war, but now it's a war. So we need the oil reserves, not for you, for the war, for Israel. Anyways, with that aside, politically, that's why I said, I'm not sure if we'll make it another 15, 20 years. I have faith in God. I'd like to believe we could, but at the same time, I've always, had this view as a born again Christian is I think America is really kind of in denial about how bad things can really get. I think Americans are in denial about Christian persecution. I think they believe that, when a gay person that owns a bakery doesn't let you bake a cake because you're a Christian is like that's like serious persecution. No, I don't think we've seen anything yet. I think post J6 and what you experienced was kind of opening the door to where we're going. But maybe that's what we need, Owen. I mean, honestly, I at this point, you've said enough. I've said enough. I just, you and I confuse like Goku and Vegeta and just give the greatest arguments of all time. You know what I mean? But it comes down to, the psyche of the masses, and the psyche of the masses is going to have to come to this understanding themselves. And you're either going to listen to facts, you're either going to listen to logic, you're either going to live in reality based off of what you're hearing and what you're seeing and what you're experiencing with your senses, one way or another. Now that could come in the form of persecution. Maybe America just gets annihilated over the next 30 years. Is that what it's going to take? Natural disasters, cosmic disasters, subversion and infiltration, another open border. I don't know. What's it going to get people to wake the hell up that everything we've been saying is a serious problem and red flag when it comes to the Israeli lobby, all foreign lobbies, all lobbies in America that don't have American interest. So my view is if America does end up in a catastrophic position, maybe that's what we need, because at this point, I just think people are not listening. I will always advocate for the First Amendment, free speech, free press, being an actual America first, America only, Christ is King patriot. That's throughout culture. I've always believed we should be the ones subverting culture with our Christian values in the media, obviously, like I've been doing for the past 10 years. That's in all avenues that you can find yourself going in. It's not just politics. This is a cultural lift. I mean, look what they do. They're in the schools, they're in the universities, they're at your job. These people are subverted everywhere. It's either we subvert with our values. It's not going to be easy. It's going to come with serious sacrifice and cancellations. Okay. Like I said, look at human history. People die for this stuff. How did this country get founded in the first place? I think we are entering that realm yet again. Everybody knows that. Everybody feels that. But you still got a lot of retards out here, Owen, that think it's only coming from the left. And if you're going to continue to tell yourself that, which obviously there are aspects of the left that hate America, want the country to fall and to be destroyed, but it's not just them. You're dealing with a lot here. And if you're not willing to address it, it's not just going to magically go away because Trump is in the White House, especially if he's doing 180s and shilling. So I think it's up in the air, Owen. I just think throughout human history, when you see serious levels of persecution, that's what really starts to wake people up. And maybe that's where we need to go at this point. But
well, that's why I talk about the timing of it, because if you can find somebody out there, and there are people, I mean, if you can find a healthy political debate with somebody that still supports Trump,
right,
and, debate in good faith, I just say, okay, well, what do you expect to get out of this administration? It's a totally fair and honest question, because here's the deal. You got less than 200 days until the midterms, and the results of the midterms could potentially flip DC. And I guess we don't know exactly what the Democrats are going to do, but I think we have a brief history lesson from the first administration on what they can do. So you have to consider that. So I just asked them, like, well, what do you guys think you're getting out of this administration? You're not getting no new wars. That deal is cooked. You're not getting mass deportations. I guess you think you can maybe deport 18 million people in 2 years, but you're not getting mass deportations. The economy is not getting better. If you're going to make the argument, it's probably getting worse, all things considered. Energy costs are going up. We're not energy independent, right? I can sit here and go check down the list. And you know what? I'll give the Trump administration, they claim that crime is down and they cite the statistics. Okay, you know what? I'll give them crime is down. I like that. I support that.
Right.
The issue that I have when they try to claim victory at the border and they say, well, look at migration. We're winning on migration. I say, what are you talking? You're winning on migration? When did we deport 20 million people? What do you mean you're winning on migration? We're losing by 19 million to the Democrats right now. And maybe that number is 30 million. I don't know. So it's just like they make all these excuses. And I'm genuinely curious from MAGA. What do you guys think you're going to get out of this administration? I'm genuinely curious what they think they're going to get out of it. I'm not even asking you to answer this, but here's what I will ask you, because you said this earlier. When I go out and I talk to people about politics, just normal people here in Austin, they're not necessarily even that politically informed or curious, but they get a general idea of what's going on, or I get recognized in public, whatever. People come up to me, they say their things. They sound like us, Drew. They sound like us. I don't talk to anybody out there in the normal world, outside of the political world, that sounds like anything that comes from the political world. I can't find anybody in the day-to-day life out here that supports anything that's going on in Washington, D.C. Many of them are Trump voters. Are you seeing a similar thing? The disenfranchisement, the complete just nothing in D.C. represents us?
I'm seeing that, and I'm also seeing a lot of, I'll just give a personal, story and or example here is, many of us lost family members over this stuff for supporting Trump. Many of us had breaks in family for, riding with Trump and arguing with family. But many of us even won family over that maybe in 2024, because I've experienced this, okay, they came around, they finally realized what's going on, and they're like, okay, I see what you've been saying for the past nearly 10 years. We got to ride with Trump because we can't get cooked out here. Kamala's retarded. She can't even talk. Biden, is he even real? Okay, like we get it, where they're lying to us, the border is open. So I've even been in this place too, where I've won arguments and I've convinced even family members, like, this is where we got to go. And then here we go, the golden age, and it is just 180 after 180 after 180. I'm like, what do you say at that point? Do I just sit there and shill, like Gunther Eagleman on X? It's the golden age and nothing's ever wrong, guys. No, I can't do that. I'm a man of principle, and so I don't know if you're experiencing that too. I guarantee you there's people out there that have experienced that. It's humiliating. It's like, what do I do here? Now they're sweeping for pedophiles and I'm supposed to just stand here and be like, oh, hey guys, let's keep doing this. Christ is king. Absolutely not. So to go to your point, yes, we are seeing that. People are pissed. They're not happy, dude. And that's why they have to continue to sweep and keep whatever's left of MAGA in this simulation that it is the golden age. But you've got the rest of the country. That's why they were running polls. Remember at the beginning of the Iran war, that's not a war, but I guess now it's a war unless Trump can win it 40 to 80 times. Do you remember when they were like, CNN poll, I think it was an NBC poll, 99% of MAGA supports Operation Epic Fury. And like, what are we doing here, dude? Is this North Korea? No, did it start with 100%? And then they're like, that's just too on the nose. We got to take it down to 99%. I can't remember. It was so ridiculous. No. But anyways, so it's just stuff like that where you're like, yeah, dude, you can't expect just people out here to look at stuff like that and not ask questions and be like, okay, this ain't it, bro. I'm tired, boss. I'm tired, boss.
Maybe it's too early, and really it kind of is. We're still in the summer. We haven't finished the primary process yet, but this stuff is on our minds, and you're starting to see some results from primaries. You're starting to get a picture of what the midterms are going to look like. A lot of people are reaching.
Oh, wait, real quick, Owen. I saw your producer, DMT, Dominic. I saw he posted the political report this morning that the GOP's now freaking out about the midterms. Did you see this? I went through it.
Yeah. Well,
you got GOP operatives. You got VGOP. You have candidates, even off record or anonymous senior White House officials. Now they're freaking out about the Iran war that is not getting any better.
You mean we were right?
Destroying their chances for the upcoming midterms. Like, so who are the panicans now? Who are the panicans now, MAGA? Okay.
Oh, you mean we were right? You mean we were right last summer when we warned the exact thing would happen? Oh, isn't it funny? You might want to start listening to the people that are right about everything. But hey, make your own decisions in life. So people are reaching the conclusion. I was talking about this earlier, and I'm not asking you for a conclusion, but just curious what you think.
Yeah.
People are reaching the conclusion now that they have to vote Democrat. And I think that the mindset is anything to stop this Trump administration. again, I don't know if I could ever vote Democrat. I never have. I will be voting, I imagine, for Ken Paxton. I support Ken. I'd like to see him get into the Senate. I'm in Texas, so maybe that Senate race is close. I think Paxton will probably win by about 4%. I think it'll be okay. But there's other races out there that might be close, and the Democrats could even flip the Senate. But I think there's a lot of people that they're not even thinking about issues now. They're not even thinking about, am I a single issue voter, or, do I like this policy or that? I think a lot of people are thinking, I need to do anything to just stop this administration. I need to do anything to stop this administration from what they're doing in the Middle East. I need to do anything to stop this administration for what they're doing to turn this country into a AI surveillance state data center. I think a lot of people are reaching that conclusion, that it's just like, hey, I'm just going to go vote to stop this administration.
I don't even know if the voting is real, Owen, to be honest with you. At this point. But for me personally, I don't support the Democrat Party. I can't vote for Democrats. And I feel the same way with the GOP and Republicans. It's just none of these people represent me or my values. And I get gaslit as if I'm the wrong one here for, having that, good old Americana view when it comes to that subject. Right. And they're changing that. But look where we are. Right. The Democrats don't want to pass the SAVE Act. They're not interested in election integrity. Look at Senator John Thune. You got a bunch of GOP senator hacks and cucks out here literally telling you from the top of the rooftops, literally on Capitol Hill, yeah, we're not going to do the SAVE Act. It's not going to happen. So you're literally getting cucked on election integrity by the Uniparty. And yet somehow Owen Schroyer and Drew Hernandez is the damn problem for pointing it out to you. Yeah, that's the problem we have here. So I don't, and being burnt from Trump, I always tell people, I'm like, dude, I never came out and said, I have not said one time in my career, I am not MAGA anymore. Trump did that to me. The day Trump came out and put out the Truth Social post, if you don't let go of this Epstein thing, I don't want your support. You are no longer my supporter. That was the end. All right, I guess we're parting ways here, bro. And I tried warning MIGA this. I've been saying this for a long time. I'm like, listen, guys, you know how there was like the walk away movement, Blexit, Legsit, all these like walk away from the Democrat Party movement. And you hear all these disenfranchised people that are disillusioned. They're like, look, dude, I have been a Democrat for a long time and it just became a cult and I'm not allowed to have an opinion. I can't speak out against anybody on one subject. And I never walked away from the Democrat Party. It's like the Democrat Party walked away from me. How many times have we heard that? Just the past 10 years alone, Owen. The same thing is now happening with formerly known as MAGA, now known as MIGA. And it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work into the future. You might be able to swing some elections, I guess, while Trump is alive for the next 15 years. Okay. And he'll be campaigning. He's like the right-wing Obama right now. They'll use him like that just to roll him out to, dance with a bunch of gays in the YMCA gay anthem. But just for me personally, I'm just independent, man. If there's a candidate that I like, that is lining up with those views, I will maybe just low key vote for them myself, but I'm done campaigning. I'm done doing that for the next 5 years, 10 at the least. That's just where I'm at, dude. So, if there's candidates that I like that align with me, I'll, be interested in maybe supporting them. But does it even matter if we can't secure our elections under President Trump? When is this going to happen? Is it going to happen? I don't think so.
Or do mass deportations. And by the way,
they both have to happen. They go hand in hand.
To that point, it's like, we put a lot into this political movement, and it was a political movement. MAGA was a political movement. It was a coalition. And by the way, Trump's social media team posted a Rush Limbaugh clip today. Like, oh, see, Rush still likes Trump. Well, actually, you should be posting the Rush Limbaugh clip from the Fox News interview in 2017, where Rush Limbaugh said the only person that can destroy the Trump coalition is Trump. Mm-hmm. That was the interview that you should have clipped and posted, because that's what Rush was right about. But my point is, I'm to the point now where it's like, I don't know. It's going to be hard to trust a political movement ever again. Obviously, it's hard enough to trust a politician. They're all liars. But it's just like, okay, if you get cheated on with every person you've ever dated, it's like eventually you just stop dating. It's just, at this point, how can you trust any political movement after what Trump just did to us?
I agree. And that's what I'm saying. It's just not going to work. You can't go from building one of the greatest modern age political coalitions in 2024. And then just a few months later, when you start doing 180s on all of those campaign promises that built that coalition, that were independents, not super Republican GOP types, a lot of young people too. Okay. You win that election in November of 2024. Fast forward, you get inaugurated, and literally fast forward in just a few months, June of 2025, we already are covering up the Epstein files and we're in another war with Iran. Okay. And if you remember, I remember, Cat Turd, all these retards out here. Oh, you're the panicans. F you if you're not willing to go with Trump to war in Iran. F you all. F you. And then, dude, it got so bad. I'm still hearing this. All these shills out here. It's so bad now, Owen, that they're literally saying that, well, you can't get everything you want. You can't get everything you want. Trump can't do everything. Your expectations shouldn't have been that high. See, and that's the problem. Look, I'm grateful for Trump closing the border. I'm grateful for the administration focusing on law enforcement across the country because Americans shouldn't be dying at the hands of anybody. And that just be allowed and be the new norm in American cities, inner cities, right? There are things that the Trump administration is accomplishing that we can point to and say are good things. However, it's some of the most important things that have been flipped on that absolutely have to happen. Some of the most immoral things, covering up for pedophiles, dude. The Jewish Jeffrey Epstein pedophile ring globally that we were all gaslit, A, wasn't real, and B, had no Israeli CIA global intelligence agency involvement. So it's some of these most important things, like you said, election integrity, mass deportations. Guys, even if we get the SAVE Act, you do understand this, right? Not you, Owen, but any retard out there that's, seething at my words. You do realize the Save America Act is absolutely useless if we don't do mass deportations, because someday you'll get a Gavin Newsom or an AOC in that position and they will get them mass amnesty. And the SAVE Act, the Save America Act, will actually probably protect them at that point because they will all be given mass amnesty and citizenship. What has to happen is the bodies have to leave the country. If Trump fails on these things and it's looking like he is, I don't know what to tell you guys anymore. Honestly, it's just... Put your faith in Jesus. And I've been telling my audience, this is just going to come down to you protecting you, your own family, your own home, your own neighborhood, your own cities. Nobody's coming, dude. Put your faith in Jesus and focus on your own families at this point. Stop shilling for Trump. The guy's done 180s. And if you don't go along with it, he obviously hates you. Okay. So why bother? Why bother? And he did that himself. Like, oh, yeah, Drew, I get this all the time. You're making Trump look bad. Drew, Owen, Troy, you guys are making Trump look. No, he's doing that himself, dude. I don't have to do anything. I'll just sit here and watch this catastrophe like, oh, wow, okay. I'm just supposed to keep calling it the golden age and drinking urine like Benny Johnson. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that.
Well, and I do think I think there are people that have business interests, personal interest in supporting Trump. I don't even know if they actually do, but it makes money for them. They built an online brand, a personality. They make money from supporting Trump, so they don't really have a choice. I think there's people in the political commentary world that just, and I'm not even trying to be mean. It's whatever. It's your own social life. But I just don't think they have any friends. I mean, I literally don't think they have any social life because they clearly are not talking to people if they think that this MAGA is still anything at all. Pretty much the average person, they've all bailed out entirely from my experience. So, but the good news is, if there is any good news, I think that there is a mass awakening that is happening. It's an undercurrent. Nobody's really talking about it. Nobody's really tapping into it. But it's really, it's like if we needed more people to understand that the whole system is corrupt, that is definitely happening. That is one thing that is happening is more people now are realizing the whole thing is corrupt, Republican or Democrat, and the foreign lobby influence has been more exposed than it's ever been as well. So these things are happening. If you want to talk about the people waking up, the problem is it's not leading to any political victories. All right. Now, guys, Drew actually has a special thing that he's about to do here. Don't tune out. Don't tune out. Trust me. Don't tune out. Drew is going to host for about the next 30 minutes or so. We'll see what he wants to do. Don't tune out. I will be back to read the super chats. Don't tune out. But for a minute here, Drew Hernandez is going to take over hosting the Owen Report. And I'm going to step out for a minute, and then I'll be right back for the super chats. But Drew, take over the hosting duties, my friend.
We got it. I got a very, 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 very special surprise for you guys here today on the legendary one and only Owen report. And we'll be revealing that in just a couple of minutes. But as I was saying is, what's really bothersome about this as well is, and I don't know how MIGA does this to themselves, is you're not allowed to ask for more. It's like we closed the border. The Trump administration is focusing on law enforcement, bringing down the crime. We get it, dude. Yeah, we voted for that, but can we get the rest? Can we get more? Or no? I'm just supposed to be quiet and not call for serious mass deep state arrests and imprisonments. It's too much to ask, even though, not only did Trump campaign on this, we advocated for it. And obviously it's not happening. And I think it's a tragedy that you have people out here in the name of America, in the name of, they still claim to be America first, that they want the best for this country. They want the best for their children. They want the best for their grandchildren, where clearly, well, if Trump obviously is not going to deliver on it, even if he ran on it and said he would, well, we can't ask for more. We just have to settle for the scraps. I can't even have a full bowl of slop anymore. I can only have a half bowl if I'm lucky. I can only have a half bowl of slop and scraps. Little scraps for the peasants. And as long as I get my scraps, scrappy do, then I have to be grateful and just shut the hell up. Don't ask for the rest. Don't ask for more. Don't ask for more greatness for this country, real greatness, which means actually delivering on some of these very important things and issues. Well, then I guess the problem is with the beggar. The problem is with the peasant. And that's what Owen, in my opinion, is he's pointing to is, MIGA, formerly known as MAGA, has turned into this authoritarian styled machine and mindset where it's protect the state, protect the federal government at all costs. Don't make them look bad. And attack, slander, character assassinate, and in some cases, assassinate. Shut down any individuals that are making the state look bad. Trump obviously represents the state right now, okay? When you are leading the charge, sweeping and running cover for pedophiles, yeah, buddy, you represent the state. Maybe he was right about draining the swamp. It just wasn't draining the corruption in the swamp. It was just draining the swamp's ball sack. I think that's where we're at. That's what we saw Trump do with Lindsey Graham and Mark Levin. Look at Randy Fine, that fat slob retard. The most establishment shills and swamp creatures you could possibly think of. He's completely unified with, and told anybody that doesn't fall in line to just shut the hell up, and you're panicking and there's no room and there's no place for you. And then we get gaslit at the same time, like, hey, what's going on here, man? Hey, buddy, Trump, we love you, man. We just want you to do the right thing. And then you get gaslit like, you're the commie. And I've heard it all, dude. On my show, on my live show, you guys can go subscribe, rumble.com/Drew Hernandez. I get it all the time. You'll see it in the live chats. Oh, this guy, he's a commie. He's a lib. He's also a Muslim. He's the woke right. And he's also, he's a Nazi. But he also takes money from George Soros, who's Jewish. That doesn't make any sense. Just go with it. So they're pulling out all the stops, and it's just sad because it's not going to work. It's not going to work. This can't go on. The Hasbara agents, they can be paid as much money as they could possibly be paid. They can be amplified in algorithms, but what they cannot pay for, at least as of yet, don't ever get a brain chip. What they can't pay for right now is to completely and entirely reprogram your brain.
Is this a microphone right here?
Well, we have our special guest. Speaking of the Trump administration, speaking of the golden age administration behind the golden microphone today, we have the one and only Officer Administration in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Officer Administration.
That's right.
The shill in chief. Great to see you, sir. How are you doing?
Well, I'm here to address some questions when it comes to law enforcement and justice in this country. I understand, Drew, that you have some issues here. And so I want to just answer any questions that you might have. The Trump administration is working very hard for justice, very hard fighting crime. So we're very transparent as well. So officer administration is here to answer any questions, any concerns you might have. I've got my folders right here with all the answers pre-written by the party in charge. And so we're here to be transparent. Any questions you have about law enforcement and justice, we're here to answer them, Drew.
Yes. Thank you, Officer Officer Administration. Thank you for hanging out here today. We appreciate you and taking the time to be extremely transparent with us. Well, let's go topic by topic. Well, we'll talk about law enforcement at the local level and the federal level, but we'll talk about the administration entirely because obviously you've got your binders there. Before we begin, did Pam Bondi give you any of those binders?
Well, yes, actually, I had a great relationship with Pam, and she's the one that gave me the idea for the binders. You know, Pam, like me, is blonde, and so we get easily confused. We get a little scrambled and mixed up. Pam, a great example of being confused and mixed up. So she said, why don't you try organizing your propaganda and files and reports in binders and folders. And if you ever need to do a photo op, you just hit copy and paste and you hand them out to members of the media and you pretend you're doing something. It works.
Yes. Last question on the folders. Is there actually anything in them that she gave you?
Yes. Oh, yes. All the Epstein files that are still redacted are in here. We've got lists of illegal aliens.
So they're not props.
We've got lists of illegal aliens that we're not going to deport. We've also have some reports on stolen elections here. I've got it all right here, Drew. I've got it all right here.
All right. Well, let's get into it. Officer Administration. Well, let's talk about the deep state arrests and imprisonments. Now, according to my understanding, I'm told to trust the plan. We'll get to that in a moment too. I'm told to, patriots are in control, and QAnon told me so. And I don't think we have at least one deep state arrest that has led to an imprisonment. It's mid 2026. What's the progress, sir? Are we even doing this anymore?
Well, you sound like a panicking. Okay. These are the types of questions that panicans are asking us. But actually, I do have an answer. I do have an answer. What you need to do, if you want deep state arrests, you need to vote Republican. You need to get out and you need to vote in the midterms. The only way we can do anything is if you give us the House and the Senate to do these things. So we really need to get out there and we need to vote harder. We really need to get out there. We need to vote in the midterms so that Trump can drain the swamp and make these deep state arrests. It's just a tick, 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 tock. Okay, it's tick tock. It's coming. We just need the time and we need to win these elections.
Just a side question, not to get off track, but are you a fan of the song YMCA? It kind of looks like you are.
Well, I am actually obligated to be a fan of the YMCA. If you are going to work in the Trump administration, you have to do the dance perfectly.
Okay.
What they do is they bring you in and, everybody sees the ceremony and the confirmation hearings. Before any of that happens, the Trump administration actually brings you in and you have to nail the YMCA dance perfectly, 100% nail it before they'll even consider you for a role. It's a pretty easy dance. Most people learn it by the time that they're 6 or 7 years old. So you have a little history there, just memory. You just go back to the memory recall and you can do the YMCA dance perfectly. And Trump will analyze it and give you the green light if he likes it. Yeah.
Okay. That seems to check out because he seems to love to take pride in the YMCA, calls it the gay anthem. And we've heard he loves blondes. Doesn't always mean women.
Here's a little inside information for you. Trump tried to get them to play the YMCA at the World Cup Championship celebration. And they said, Trump, believe it or not, this one's not about you.
That checks out, sir. That checks out. All right, continuing the conversation. So it seems like you're not being direct with your answer here, because what do you say to people that respond to your answer when they say, well, Officer Administration, isn't that what we just kind of did at the end of November 2024? Wasn't it like a trifecta? Trump delivered the White House, the Senate, and the House, and we were supposed to just go after everybody? So how is that supposed to make sense? How does a panican rectify that in their mind, sir?
Oh, if only it were that simple, Joe. If only it were that simple that you elect a politician and they do what
Wait
they
a second. Hey, officer, did you just call me Jew? It's Drew. You can't say the word Jew like that, okay? In a negative context.
I will arrest you if you do that. I will come through this digital interface right now and arrest you. I agreed to do this interview out of transparency.
Officer, are you secretly woke, right?
I don't need these types of attacks being levied against me, a good officer of the law with 0 deep state arrests and no mass deportations.
Okay, all right.
I don't need
continue, officer. I'm sorry, officer. I don't want to be assassinated with a shape charge under my shirt.
I don't appreciate, actually, I have to say, the administration and officer administration, we don't appreciate your attitude. Just because you haven't seen the mass deportations yet, just because we haven't arrested any deep state members or Epstein clients yet, that doesn't mean it's not coming. You just need to wait, okay? You just need to trust the plan and wait. Haven't you seen the QAnon stuff that the administration has been posting? Have you not seen that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There are millions of people out here that eat that messaging every day, sir. Yes.
So what's with the gruff from you? Trust you. What are you doing? Why aren't you?
Well, you are correct, sir. You are correct. We should not be asking questions. I agree with you.
Thank you. That makes my job a lot easier.
So how do we do this interview if I can't ask questions?
Well, first you should probably...
I have to ask the right questions.
No. First, you should probably say something nice about President Trump. That's what you should do.
President Trump has nice hair, sir. He has nice hair.
That is true.
Okay.
If you want to conduct the proper interview in this administration, you better suck up first. You better kiss some ass. Pucker on up and kiss that ass if you want an interview from this administration.
That makes total sense. All right, officer. Well, let's continue. So, all right. Speaking of QAnon, though, I do have a question. Okay, here's an honest question. All right. They tell us to trust the plan. You just told us to trust the plan, right? And patriots are in control. Just exactly what is that plan, sir?
Well, if I told you the plan, then how would you know how to trust it? I think that's what I'm supposed to say, right? That was the one you wrote down. Well, you just have to put your faith in Trump, okay? You just have to put your faith in Trump. And if if the clock runs out, nothing gets done, then that's on you because you didn't trust the plan enough.
So it's our fault. Makes sense.
Yeah, you're not trusting the plan enough. If you could just trust the plan a little harder, maybe we could do these mass deportations. If you would just trust the plan with all of your heart and soul, maybe we could arrest a member of the deep state, but you're not trusting enough.
Okay. So is it kind of like, when Yoshi does that noise when he's like charging up and he's like flying for a second like that? Is that how I have to keep trying harder and harder and harder and harder until it finally happens? Is that what they want to see?
Do we have Yoshi in these files? Is that the guy that's funding the war? I don't know. I don't know about this Yoshi character. I feel like now that you're fake news.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on. All right. So Epstein files, that was a big issue. All right. And we already touched on that. And we've been told
it's a non-issue. It's a non-issue. It's a hoax.
Okay. Okay. So how is it a hoax though? We need this explanation though, because the Trump administration, Trump himself said he would release them.
Excuse me.
And then we got to a place where it became a hoax.
Excuse me.
And then there was a release.
Whoa. Excuse me. You need an explanation. Who do you think you are? What do you think? You're an American here? What do you think? You deserve answers from your leadership? What is this a joke? You need. You know what we need? We need you guys to lay off. Okay. We need you guys to forget about Jeffrey Epstein and move on from the files. That's what we need. This isn't about you. This isn't about what America wants or needs. This is about what we need. Okay. We need you to move on. We need you to forget. Stop digging into those files and stop asking us why we haven't declassified everything either. We're getting a little sick of this. What we need is you to ignore the massive foreign intelligence blackmail operation that Jeffrey Epstein was running with all of his friends. We need you to stop that. You're hurting the country. Do you get that? You're hurting the country by making a big deal out of this. You're making me look bad.
Officer, who's we exactly?
I think I have that one right in here. Right there, buddy. That's what it is. Huh? Asking me questions like that. You're lucky you even get an interview with officer administration. With this type of insolence, see, this is what we have to put up with from the American people. Why don't you guys just let us lie to you 24/7 and shut up about it, huh? Go watch the World Cup.
All right, officer. Let's do some glazing. Let's do some glazing. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down. All right. Let's do some glazing. I know you guys like that. You love the glazing, right? You love the glazing, right?
Oh yeah.
You guys love the glazing. Okay, let's talk about you. Let's talk about your experience. Where did you receive your training for law enforcement? Was it in America, outside of America? What are the origins in your background? Where did you receive educational training? Do you have military training? And who did that training, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, originally I was enrolled at Trump University, and then it went under, and they took all of my money. After that, I was lost and confused, looking for answers. I was brought in by the Israeli lobby. I trained with the IDF. I went over there and I learned a lot. I learned a lot about how to approach American politics. And so once I completed my journey in Israel with the Israeli lobby, I was able to come back and become officer administration and tell you how your interests are best served in the Middle East.
Okay. Anything else? Any other experience that you think we should know about, or should we just leave it at that?
Well, I will tell you that we are anticipating it could be a little bit of a rough transition here. Officer administration will be here to help, but it looks like, because of these wars, these conflicts in the Middle East, it does look like we're going to have to bring in about 1 million people from the Middle East now. We're going to have to bring them in. We're going to have to place them in America. Europe will take some too, obviously. This is where they belong. So the Arabs and the Muslims and everything that's about to go down with this new war, they're going to have to be moved somewhere. This is Israel's land now, promised to them 3,000 years ago. So they're going to get that land back, and the Muslims are going to have to move into Europe. They're going to have to move to America. So we will be helping with this transition, but we're just going to need to get you guys ready. There will be a Muslim invasion because of this war, but officer administration will be here to make sure things go smoothly. And, we got to give credit to the United States of America. Such a generous country, such a country willing to just pay for other people to come in and get stuff for free. And you will be doing that again after this war. After you funded this war and you pay for the repairs, you will then be paying for all of the displaced Muslims to come into your country as well. You will be paying for that. And we have to appreciate America and just how generous they are to really sacrifice their entire country for this.
Well, officer administration, I have to ask. I mean, if there's going to be facilitated by you, if there's going to be a facilitation of more Muslims and displaced individuals from these Muslim countries coming into Europe, coming into America, what was the point of even closing the border here in the United States? I'm not seeing the connection. What's the point?
I'm sorry, border? What is he talking about with a border? I don't have that in my file. What is a border? What is it? What are you talking about?
The Trump administration and MAGA loves to point whenever someone is saying the Trump administration is not doing anything. They say, well, Trump closed the border. So how are we closing a border, yet you guys are going to facilitate millions of Muslims coming
it's right here.
Through that border?
It's right here. We have a wall, and Mexico paid for the wall.
Oh.
There's a wall.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is that going to do, officer?
Well, it's going to be a wall, and Mexico's going to pay for it. And that's it. That's all it is. It doesn't matter. These people, we fly them over the wall. Maybe that's what you're confused about.
Okay.
We fly them over the wall.
So the wall is pointless.
Well, it's not totally pointless. I mean, Mexico paid for it. It's there. But no, we will fly them over the wall. The wall will not stop them from getting in.
I got a quick question, though. Speaking of walls, do we have a photo of you touching the Western Wall in Israel? Did you go to the wall and do that whole thing?
No, in fact, there will be no photos of officer administration. I usually work behind the scenes, not on camera. We volunteered to do this interview because we thought maybe we could fix your broken panic in mind. And we thought maybe we could convince you to start trusting politicians again. That's why I volunteered.
But officer, shouldn't that be a good thing? Isn't it a good thing to go and touch the wall and put on the little hat and all that?
Well, we can never fully know if you can be trusted with any political power until you have kissed the wall. It's the only way we know for sure that you can be trusted with political power. And until you do that, sorry, you can't be trusted.
So you are a fan of that wall?
Oh, big fan.
Okay.
Big fan.
Okay. So is it safe to say, officer, that Trump ran on mass deportations, and it's not looking like we're going to get anywhere near 20 million by 2028?
That's just not true.
What are we going to do?
Not true.
What
Drew.
is the truth then, officer?
You cannot show me one video of Trump running.
Not one?
There's no video of Trump running ever. So you
It's all AI? Is it all AI, sir?
Trump runs this, Trump ran on it. He never ran. Trump doesn't run. He walks. He walks with confidence. He walks with aura. He walks strong. He doesn't run. So I keep hearing Trump ran. Trump has never run a day in his life. I'm not going to sit here and put up with this fake news. Show me one video of Trump running ever. I have a video of him throwing a football. He's thrown a baseball. Yes. He might have even touched a basketball, but he's never run. He has never run, and you can't prove that he has. So I don't want to hear this Trump ran on this. There's no videos of Trump running. Doesn't exist.
Okay. Let's move on to, let's talk about some foreign policy. Are you able to comment on these things?
We do have a folder here on foreign policy. Yes,
okay.
It's one of my smaller ones here. They don't want me to touch too much on that, but I have a folder right here, prepared statements, some propaganda. Okay. Some truth for you.
So let's talk about Trump's big announcement the other night. Can we talk about that, officer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Trump announced everything we've already known, that the Chinese Communist Party, they were all involved in the 2020 election steal. So are we allowed to talk about election fraud? Are we allowed to talk about these things now that Trump is in the White House?
Absolutely. And in fact, what we need to do is we need to make sure that we give all election power to a central authority in Washington, D.C. That's the only option we have. And the Democrats certainly won't abuse this. And so what we're going to do actually is we're going to massage some propaganda. We're going to massage some headlines and some stories for you so that you really think about election integrity. We're going to keep those voting machines in place because they're the only things you can trust in this whole process. They're the only things that are infallible in these elections are these voting machines. So we're going to make sure that we keep those in place because those are going to be very important to maintaining our election integrity. And, everything else I think will fall right into place.
Well, we have dual citizens in this country, and particularly through AIPAC in Israel, and they influenced the Thomas Massey race recently.
Oh, how dare
Isn't that a form of election meddling? Are we allowed to talk about that one, or just only China and everybody else?
That's right. You will only talk about China.
Okay.
And, there's something else I'd like to address because I'm getting a hint of attitude. Okay. I'm getting a little bit of indignation here from you, and I don't appreciate that. There's this belief that people like you are trying to sell people. There's this belief that if an election is stolen, that there needs to be accountability. There's some belief that if there's a stolen election, there needs to be accountability, serious responses, and even arrests. You need to forget these ideas. You need to get these ideas out of your head. Just because there's a stolen election doesn't mean there needs to be any accountability, doesn't mean there needs to be any big changes, and there certainly don't need to be any arrests, okay? So why don't you just drop that?
Well, officer, where did those ideas come from to begin with?
Well, all I know is right here in my folder, prepared by the greatest press secretary of all time, Caroline Leavitt. She said they're sick of hearing about this, Drew. She said that the White House is sick and damn tired of hearing about arrests. They don't want to hear about it anymore. Okay, so stop bringing it up.
Okay. All right. Let's talk. What does Mr. Trump want to do, sir? Why don't you tell us what does the president want to do? Okay, we know he loves the ballroom thing, and
yeah.
Okay, what should tell us, sir? What should we believe and what should we be concerned about?
Well, I'm hoping to get that duty. If I nail this interview, they told me that I might be able to guard the ballroom. If I nail this interview, I could be the head security guard at the ballroom. No, what Trump really is thinking about right now is he needs more attention. He needs more people paying attention to him You saw a desperate man on the stage at the World Cup. He's desperate for attention. You know, he's doing so many great things and he's not getting the credit he deserves. And he thought maybe if he could slide into the World Cup celebration that people might actually think he's winning something. We had some issues with that. He almost pulled it off. There's one thing that we can do. You know, they built a giant golden monument to Trump that people worship all the time. We'd like to commission one of those in each and every state, and including Washington, D.C. So what we're trying to do right now is get 51 gold Trump statues so that people in all 50 states and Washington, D.C. can worship Trump properly. So this is something we're really spearheading right now. I'm in charge of security. Of course, we know that if you put these things up, there's going to be people trying to, damage them and desecrate them. Not on my watch. Not on officer administration's watch. Sure, you might get away with vandalizing the reflecting pool or something. I don't know. Whatever's going on with that. Nobody knows. You will not be vandalizing our golden statues of Trump. You will be worshiping those in peace. And let me warn you of this, Drew, because I know a little bit about law enforcement. I'm going to tell you this right now. When these statues go up, if we catch you not paying proper respects to President Trump, we're coming for you. We're coming for you. And I've also been told, and I'm looking to work this beat. Anybody we see slandering or attacking our greatest ally in the Middle East, we're coming for you too. And we got all the AI working on this. We got all the AI.
Who is that greatest ally, may I ask?
Well, Israel, of course.
Oh, okay.
There is no other ally.
Okay, that sounds great. I do have a quick question. We'll come back to what Trump wants, but since you're on the topic of law enforcement officer, okay? Yeah. There's this rumor going around. FBI Director Kash Patel. I'm sure you guys are buds. You guys buds?
We've enjoyed a few buds.
Okay, that's kind of why I'm going to ask the question. There's this rumor going around that apparently he's mandating mandatory high-powered bidet sessions for federal agents across the United States. What's going on with that? Like they're mandatory, they're high powered. Mm-hmm. Kind of weird. What's going on there?
Well, I see the angle you're trying to take here, and I don't appreciate it. Just because a man is Indian doesn't mean he can't wipe his own ass. And just because we have a Taco Bell diarrhea epidemic happening here doesn't mean we need these bidets everywhere. Now,
no. The report is, I'm looking at it right, high-powered bidets. So there's a little more oomph.
So let me address that. What you had was the Biden administration brought in a bunch of transgenders, and there were some issues that needed a high power. Okay. Any other questions?
Okay. So as we're on the topic of the FBI, we all watched this very bizarre interview. Speaking of Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, where they are both claiming, I've seen the file, I've seen the tape. Epstein definitely killed himself. Trust me. But there's a lot of contradictive reports on record that don't line up with that. I just have a question. Do you have any insider knowledge as to why Kash Patel and Dan Bongino really just looked like there was somebody in that room like holding a gun to their head?
Look, I've got the whole file right here. I've seen the tape. Okay. I have the whole file right here. Epstein killed himself. Okay. What else do you need to hear? I've got the whole file right here. I've seen the whole video. He killed himself. Stop asking questions. Stop with this.
Got it. I did have a comment, by the way. You made a comment about Trump. Apparently, it sounds like you guys, someone in the administration had the idea of rolling him out at the World Cup finale to try to, do the Trump dance. And you said it. You said it didn't really work out. Is it because American troops got blown up in the Middle East because of him and he's dancing with a bunch of sweaty dudes that play with balls? Is it just kind of like a bad look? Is that maybe why? Or
none of that happened? None of it. Not a single thing that you just said happened. Not one. In fact, Trump looked great on that stage. And whatever the backdrop is you're trying to build here, it's just not true. The only backdrop the American people saw while Trump was nailing it at the World Cup was the backdrop of the golden age and total victory. That's it. There was nothing else in the backdrop. Just the golden age. Sick of winning.
Okay, well let's. I got a couple questions on the Iran war. By the way, how many times has Trump won the Iran war since June of 2025?
Make sure I got that one for you. Every time. He's won it every time. He's undefeated.
Sir, but MAGA says it's not a war. So how do we?
What is the context of your question here? Are we talking about congressional approval?
There has been none, according to my understanding.
Exactly. It's not a war.
He's given notifications.
It's not a war. No, that's because it's not a war.
Oh,
yeah.
So when Trump calls it a war and Benjamin Netanyahu calls it a war, and then when he wins the war, he says, "I won the war."
Right.
So it's not a war.
No, that's a war then. Then it's a war. Yes.
So it can only be a war unless he wins it? Is that what you're saying, officer?
It's a war whenever we say it's a war.
Okay, got it. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Yes. I'm just I'm going along with the logic, man. I'm having to rewire some things. You know what I mean?
Oh, there's going to be plenty of rewiring. Let me tell you that. Plenty of that.
What do you mean by that? How's that going to go?
Well, first, we're rewiring this new Air Force One, okay? It's been a real pain in the butt, let me tell you. We're rewiring that. But actually, at the end of all of this, we're going to have to rewire some brains. So what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to bring you into camps, and we're going to have to rewire you on foreign policy. We're going to have to rewire you. You know, some people out here, they still think the Constitution, the Bill of Rights means anything. We're going to have to rewire you on that. We're going to have to re-invoke some of the propaganda from World War II to really rewire you on that too. We're going to do a lot of rewiring. And anybody out there that doesn't like Trump with every bone in their body, you will be rewired the hardest.
Hardest, huh? I have a question though. You made a comment about the new Air Force One. You're rewiring it?
Yes.
So why would you have to rewire a new Air Force One that was bought and paid for by Qatar?
Well, we don't trust the Qataris, obviously. We can't trust the Qataris. In fact, everybody in the media that has a difference of opinion on foreign policy is funded by the Qataris. And there's ample evidence of this. We produce it every day when we accuse them of being Qatari funded, obviously. So we're just following the breadcrumbs here.
Okay.
And when Laura Loomer says Qatar funded, we know that there's a problem there, obviously. So we cannot trust anything from Qatar, including a big, beautiful jet. Cannot trust it.
So why would you even take it?
Well, there was some fighting over that. I will tell you, there was some fighting, but Trump really wanted it, and he's the boss, so he got what he wanted.
So how? I just have a question. I mean, people that, you know, they get accused of being bought and paid for by Qatar. I mean, you mentioned Laura Loomer, and there's obviously others like Mark Levin. We'll get to him in a moment.
These are just American patriots. These are just
but how is Tucker? They call him Tucker Qatarelson. How is Tucker a Qatari agent, yet Trump's the one flying around in a bought and paid for jumbo jet as the president by Qatar? I mean, how does that work, sir?
Is there something you'd like to say? Are you insinuating something here?
No,
it sounds like you're insinuating a double standard. That's what it sounds like. And maybe you don't understand how this stuff works. There are no double standards when it comes to Trump. There's only one standard. Shut up and listen, bitch. Okay? That's the only standard you have with Trump. What
was that again? What was it?
Shut up and listen. Trump is your boss and Trump is your daddy. Everybody will join the Trump cult when we're all said and done. And I'm going to tell you, you better be careful here too.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a little exclusive right now. If people like you keep getting uppity like this, we might just cancel the election, bud. Okay? So you better be careful. If we look at this and Trump is not going to win or the Republicans aren't going to win, we might just cancel the election because we can't have this. We can't have this. This type of insolence. No. We'll cancel the election if you don't watch your mouth.
So what happens if you guys decide to do that? How would that roll out?
That's it. No elections. Trump becomes a dictator.
Stays in the White House.
Yeah. And actually, we've got the technology now. We can pretty much keep him alive forever. So
we wouldn't even need Trump 2028, right? It's just Trump infinity. Trump infinity.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we're thinking about. We're working with Elon Musk, Ray Kurzweil, some of the guys. If we can't keep Trump alive forever, we'll just put his brain into some sort of a machine and dictator Trump forever. Yeah.
So I mentioned Mark Levin earlier. We know that Trump has famously come out and pretty much declared Mark Levin as MAGA, while people like Alex Jones are not any longer, or Tucker Carlson are not any longer, MTG are not any longer. How do we explain that one away? I mean, Mark Levin is like OG anti-Trump right out the gate. Now all of a sudden he is the standard of who MAGA is.
That is a lie. Mark Levin was never anti-Trump. Mark Levin has been on the Trump train before anybody. And anybody doubting Mark Levin's commitment and patriotism to America, have you seen his brooch? Have you seen his big America flag brooch and the veteran brooch? The guy clearly loves America. It's definitely not a psyop of some foreign agent going on TV pretending he's an American patriot to trick conservatives into supporting foreign interests. That's definitely not what Mark Levin is ever about. He was always an America first patriot. And you're borderline right now, Hernandez. I'm going to tell you right now, you're borderline right now. I might have to call somebody because this is getting out of control. You are not allowed to say anything negative about Mark Levin. Okay. And I don't know what state you're in, but if you're in a state that has anti-Semite speech laws, you could be arrested, son. So you better be careful the way you speak of Mark Levin, the greatest American patriot in the media. Haven't you seen his lapel pin? Have you seen it?
Oh, we see it. We see it. It's
see it.
Boom, right there, officer. Okay, so Mark Levin is off limits. We can't talk about Mark. Can we talk good about Mark Levin?
Sure, you can talk great about it. There's nothing bad to say. I mean, come on.
Okay. I do have a question about a fellow named Ben Shapiro. Can we go down that route, officer?
If you'd like.
Yeah, it's very, very, very strange. Well, number one, what's going on with the eyebrows? Looks like he's got the Twin Towers popping out of his face. Is there a reason for that? They just keep growing along with the tiny hat too. It's just kind of weird. Is it like a fashion thing, or are you guys friends?
Well, they did some studies and they found that men with thicker eyebrows are more trustworthy. So Shapiro is, it's something he needs to work on with that. So he's going with the big eyebrow look. As far as the hat is concerned, you're not allowed to ask about that hat. You're not allowed to ask about that hat. Again, the anti-Semitism is just oozing out of you today. I can't even believe that you would bring up the hat.
Well, the reason why I bring it up is, side note is there's a lot of theories out there, people speculating what exactly lives under that hat. Would you know? Have you seen it? Have you seen anything?
Nope. We're not going there. That's it. You've gone too far. No, we don't have to answer these questions. That's it. We're ending this press conference. Don't you dare. That's it. Hey, you know what he's done. You're going to get a visit soon, son. You're going to get a visit soon. If you think for 1 second you can go on air in the United States of America and say anything bad about Shapiro or Levin, we're going to make an example out of you, buddy. That's it. That's enough of you. Get me out of here with this guy. Get me out of here.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Officer administration. I think we were able to get at least maybe 45 minutes and an hour out of the officer. But I was kind of weird, man. I start bringing up Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro and shut it down. So shut it down. There was probably a little guy with a little hat on that officer administration got the call, chat. Officer administration got the call. He got the call. Shut it down. Shut it down, everybody. Shut it down. Maybe we'll get him back. I don't know. We'll have to figure out maybe we'll send somebody to go kiss the wall, and maybe we'll be let back. Maybe we can do like a public apology on our knees, and maybe we'll be given access back to to the legendary officer administration.
How did your interview go, Drew?
It went well, man. You're gonna have to go back and rewatch it, dude. I think you're gonna get a lot of crap for it. I think you're gonna have to.
Oh my gosh!
I think you're gonna get a lot of, let's just say, hate mail.
We almost broke you a couple times.
The reason why is because it's just like, it's so real. Like when you're talking like that, and people are just lost their minds and like, well, that's just reality. Don't think about it too much. Just trust the plan, Pentagon.
You better. That was
Hope
fun.
the chat enjoyed it. Shout out to the chat.
We got to have some fun. Drew Hernandez coming to you live from a data center somewhere. I don't know. Drew, hey, plug your channel. Let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, you guys can watch my show. I go live Monday through Friday, every single night, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. I think it's like an hour or two after Owen ends. Follow me on Rumble. That's where it's at. Rumble.com/Drew Hernandez. Rumble.com/Drew Hernandez. You guys can follow me on X.com/Drew H Live. And those are the main plugs.
All right. All right, Drew. Have a good show tonight. We'll be checking in on you.
All right, boss. I'll see you later. Thank you.
All right. Yep. There goes Drew Hernandez. All right. Yeah, I had a little fun today. You got to switch it up a little bit. We don't want to get too redundant here. We're in bonus time now. We're going into a deep bonus time today with that deal. All right, here we go. Let's go into our super chats before we sign off for the day. Woofy leads us off. Trump says no punishment for 2020 election. Nope, there will be no punishment. There will be no justice. There will be no accountability for a stolen election. The whole speech was a psyop to get people to support the NDAA so they can slip in the Israel conquering of our military. CK, first casualty of Iran war. Who is amazed? See, the turkey fighter jet thing is old talk around the base. Think you're right about Trump potentially positioning against our greatest ally because that's old news on the base. Interesting. U.S. sovereignty officially ends tomorrow. If they pass it, let's find out. I don't know if you remember, but I called it. Israel started this war. Now they're out. Smotrich confirmed it. We got played. Even Israel is not dying for Israel. Ha, Captain. Yeah, we did cover that. Kat, we need to make Trump accountable. Well, I guess you'll be voting Democrat. Benny Slopson still owning the libs. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. People are just years behind what we do here. Not to mention Putin has no more rungs left on escalation ladder. Well, I wouldn't be so sure about that. I have a feeling escalation is inevitable with all of this. Trump posts deaths from different wars, comparing it. Yeah, I know. It's just pathetic. It's the whole thing. It's just a damn shame. JM Dog, isn't it funny? I used to think the hippies in the 60s were crazy, and now I'm like, I would have been one of them, and I'm a conservative my whole life. They were right on these stupid wars. It's the biggest crime, really, that's happened against our country is the deep state spilling blood and treasure for foreign interests all over the world. It's the biggest theft of wealth that we've had to endure as Americans. And I don't even think we can really comprehend it, honestly. I don't think we can comprehend how much greater our country would be if we never got involved in the Middle East, if we never got an occupied government from our greatest ally. Lindsay's final wish was to pass the Princess Scepter Bubble Wand to Darlene. Ah, yes, his magical Disneyland wand. Drop a penny revolution will only happen when the electricity shuts off and the Wi-Fi. Well, then I guess they're not going to do that. I guess we can be sure they're not going to do that then. Cornelius Westernmost, going back to your great conversation with Greg Reese and strategic location of data centers, what levity do you give to the theory electricity and HDO consumption are actually being used by underground cities? Yeah, there's definitely some of that, but I don't know if that's the big issue. I don't know if that's even a big issue. But we know they have underground cities, underground bunkers. That's for sure happening. Sattery zero. According to Google, over 33 trillion added to the national debt in the 21st century. I'm telling you, look at those charts and where the money is going. I mean, you'll shed a tear. You'll shed a tear, folks. Trillions of dollars spilled, blood and treasure spilled, American blood and treasure in the Middle East, all because the foreign lobby owns our government. Imagine the country we could have if we spent those trillions to build at home instead of spending it on kosher wars. That's what we're all starting to get. Not building new comms buildings. They're FEMA camps. Yeah, we've been hearing that for a while. It's so obvious the Zionists infiltrated TPUSA. Infiltrated? Created? Thoughts on Navy SEAL Rob O'Neill? We covered Rob yesterday. Rob O'Neill is an American legend, an American hero, and he continues to be such outside of his service now, as I guess you could say a member of the media. I stand with Rob O'Neill. Great patriot, great American, great person. Legui, Owen, did you see the Black Ops 1 and 2 ports have moved 5 million players only on PS5? Goes to show that people want back old game design. I'm not sure what you're saying. Are you saying that people were trying to play it on the old system and now they've booted them? They can't do that? So it sounds like that's what you're saying. I don't know. I'm not really into the new video game stuff, really. I've got every once in a while I might dabble on a Switch, but I don't. It's like I've been talking about, do video game content. I don't play the games. It's like if I still played the games maybe, but I just don't. Shout out to Drew and his Rigas. Christ first, America only Rosie O'Donnell. Justine, youngest boomer, is 62 in 2026. Our government is building an open-air prison for us via surveillance centers, flock, digital ID, digital currency, etc. Yes. The only question is, are they going to collapse everything and force us into that, or are they going to just slow boil us into it? James O'Keefe and James Fishback. Yeah, I saw the collab. Love it. Love it. Fishback, no AI data centers, no flock, no Palantir. Boy, that race is getting fun. Ban Texas Ted Cruz from Florida election interference. Now, that might actually help Fishback. What oil reserves? They're gone. That's right. Trump has lowered it to lower than Biden levels. And it's all Biden's fault. The no cucks allowed remnant. We are legion. Is that us? Dr. Phil Schroyer, boomers are leading us, and they still have it too good, living in denial while the country falls apart around them, but just out of sight enough that they can sweep it under the rug. I love those memes with like the boomers dancing. It's like old people dancing, and they're like boomers as they sell our country out to foreign and special interests and destroy it. Poor boomers. Poor boomers. You know, we can do the commentary about the generation and everything that happened to our country with them in power, but they're victims of the corruption too. If you're tired of all of them, why vote for them? The real Emperor Palpatine. Yeah, well, I think a lot of people are reaching that same conclusion. They don't want to vote for any of them. We should all go into the booth and vote for Cyclospora. That'll drain the swamp. That'll take care of it. Trump trying to remove vaccine religious exemptions. I think they already did, didn't they? Yeah, Trump's totally betrayed us on the big pharma front. Total betrayal. And, Kennedy's just like given up, I guess. Is it too much to have a non-PDF political party? Apparently, at least for now. Indictments are coming. Tick-tock. Yes, says Sean Hannity for 4 years. Oh, and you better be wearing the short shorts, bacon cheeseburger nationalist. Well, Sam, guess you'll never know. Great show today, Owen. Tayo, your host, folks? I don't know. Thank you, 77BTLE. Ryan, I think Trump is BB Milikowski's backdrop. Am I right? What do you mean by backdrop? Is BB going to come in for Lindsey Graham's funeral? You know that Mamdani is threatening to arrest Netanyahu. Do you guys realize that if Mamdani arrests Bibi Netanyahu, he becomes a world hero and a national hero. So you can say whatever you want. I don't really care. That is a fact. That is a fact. If Mamdani arrests Netanyahu, he becomes the most popular man in the world that day. And it could be Trump. Trump could do it. Trump could be the savior to stop this insane regime in Israel, drenched in the blood of the innocent, destroying the entire world and keeping us away from achieving world peace. It's Netanyahu. It's Israel. Trump could be that hero. Now, I don't think any of it's going to happen. It's weird, though. Trump, nobody will arrest Netanyahu. And then Mamdani doubles down. Hell yeah, I'll arrest Netanyahu. He's a war criminal. Boy, Mamdani is everything we wish Trump was on foreign policy. The socialist communist Muslim is more America first than Trump is. Are you new boot goofing today? No, maybe. I don't know. Shut it down. We had to shut it down. Had to be shut down. All right, guys. Thanks to everybody in the super chats. You know, we did a little something different today. Did a little something different. Stay tuned. Maybe we got some other different stuff planned for the future, because why not? You know, got to have some fun. Got to switch it up every once in a while here. Got to keep you on the edge of your seat. If Mamdani arrests Netanyahu, I will vote for him in 28. Even though he's not eligible, we'll still write him in. Telling you, he'll be a world hero. It could be Trump. Trump, you know, it's like Trump is the biggest narcissist on the planet. It's like, Trump, do you want to be the most famous man in the history of the world? Arrest Netanyahu. End the Israeli regime that is keeping the world from peace and drenching the Middle East in the blood of the innocent. Trump could be the hero the world needs him to be. Instead, he's going to sell out to them. That's what he's going to do instead. Very sad, very unfortunate, but that's where we're at. That's going to do it for the show. Take a 20-and-a-half-hour break. We'll do it same time, same channel tomorrow. I may or may not, I haven't looked at the movie times, I may or may not go to see the Odyssey and do a review tonight. May do an Odyssey review tonight with a twist. With a twist. I'm going to look up movie times when we get off here. But you know, I'm the only one that can do a proper review of the Odyssey. It's only me. So I feel I have to do it. So we may do that tonight. Stay tuned. Otherwise, see you tomorrow.